The world is a movie screen. Your mind is a projector. What you are doing to create your reality is projecting your mind into thoughts. Everything here is alive, physically alive. The water is alive. The tree is alive. Everything is alive. It is vibrating. When you produce a thought, a thought becomes alive. It is separate from you. Thought has its own consciousness. Every thought is fighting for your energy in order to live. So even a thought itself wants to live. It wants to manifest itself in this world. However, the law is energy must follow thought. Your emotional body must follow the thought. What that means is you cannot think a happy thought and feel sad. You cannot think a sad thought and feel happy. Doesn't work like that. So every thought is passing through your mind. You cannot stop thoughts from passing. Even other people's thoughts are passing through your mind. So you are nothing but pure awareness. So every thought is fighting for your energy. This thought is saying, listen, think about me. Think about the lady that cut you off in traffic. This thought is like, no, think about me. Think about the man that broke your heart. Think about me. Then another thought is like, no, think about me. Think about wealth and abundance. When you decide which thought you want to project your consciousness into, that is the movie you will experience at that moment. So the energy that the universe wants to play with you, whatever you want to do, it wants to do. So you say, I don't want a ticket. I don't want a ticket. The universe says, let's get a ticket. You say, I don't want my heart broken by this man. The universe says, let's get our heart broken. Right? So thought attaches itself once you project your consciousness into. So the first understanding is the understanding of thought and how it is alive and how each thought is waiting for you to attach itself to experience the life that you want. So you have to be careful what you think, because there's 3 rules to the God self. The conscious self only exists in this world. What that means is if you go to sleep right now, you don't even know this world exists. You don't know you have children. You don't know you have a car outside. You don't know you have any of these things. It's not until I wake you up and you go, oh my God, I'm late for work. So the conscious self is only aware of this world outside of the dream state. And how can we confirm that for sure? Because when you go to sleep at night, the mind tells you, you can go to sleep. I don't sleep. Body asleep, mind awake. Body asleep, mind awake. The mind goes, I will go into different realities and experience myself. Right? So that's what the dream world is completely things that we think about. So in the dream state, we confirm that the mind is not confined to the body. The mind does not need the body in order to exist. Right? So understanding now that thought itself is your greatest enemy. Being careful, because thought has its own consciousness. So now when you project your consciousness into thought, your movie starts to roll. So let's understand how the mind works. There's 3 rules. It cannot turn off what it sees and hears. That means whatever you know, you cannot unknow. Whatever you see, you cannot unsee. It does not know the difference between a negative and a positive thought. I don't want a ticket. Well, let's get a ticket. The third one is the most important one. It does not know if you're imagining something or if it's really happening. When you go to the movie theater and you're watching a horror flick and you jump, the mind thinks someone is trying to kill you. That's why it does not know if you're imagining something or if it's really happening to you. It has no idea you were sitting in the movie theater watching a horror flick. So when you start to understand these concepts of the mind, then you start to understand your mind into the thought that you do not want to experience. You're living in the duality. So then there's another part of you that we call the ego. That's the part that thinks it's human. And it is the one that you become the slave to. It is the one that wants all the attachments here, the addictions here, the control here, the fear here. So when you understand this duality of you happening, you will understand that the fear is coming from the ego self. And the true peace and the serenity is what the soul wants. So thought is very important. And I just want to touch on one last thing. I want to take over the whole room. The fifth dimension is not a place. It's a frequency. It's a state of consciousness that we're moving into, right? So frequencies is based on vibrate. So everything vibrates at different frequencies. So this is the end of material consciousness. Material is over now. So everything you're paying attention to that's happening around your world, everybody is being pushed into their soul intention right now. These celestial bodies govern us. They are our governing bodies. They are all the master computer over our lives. From the time that we are born and we are in the fetus, it has a biological clock. And these celestial bodies download our soul intention into our central nervous system, right? Which is the command center of our bodies. This is where the chakras are. The chakras are the chakras are the gas station, and the energy is the fuel that goes into your body. That's why when people come into the world, they get born on a certain date, certain time. That's very important because they represent certain archetypes that are coming to this planet. And that's why people say, I'm an oracle, I'm a healer, I'm a doctor, I'm a this, I'm that. But what happens is as they come down, our parents and people around them push us out of our soul intention. So the celestial bodies who download this information into our central nervous system are coming to fine-tune the entire vibrational field now. So they send down a new vibration. And everybody who cannot ascend to this vibration of consciousness will experience it as pain, but they call it chaos. So losing your job, losing your relationship, all that is going to happen now. Your job, your relationship, things in your life, is pure turmoil is going to happen because yeah, I'm sorry.
No. I'm sorry for asking questions in the middle because I like taking notes. Yeah. So the fifth dimension, as I understand it, is not a place per se. It's a frequency.
A state of consciousness. It's a frequency.
Right. So let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. So I was reading something about time is a construct, and that like the past doesn't exist. It's all in the memory, right? So like
it's all happening now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like if you're a million light years away, right? That you can still see the dinosaurs are still living or some shit like that.
Yes, like, that's what we call the Akasha.
The Akasha. So again, I'm just like totally ignorant of all this shit, right? So are you saying that does dimensions have to do with time? Like as we understand it, right? Like we're headed towards eternity, but we actually live in eternity. When I think of dimensions, I'm thinking in terms of
as a place, parallel realities.
Correct. Yeah. So is it like that, or we're talking about something different?
So time. So that's the fifth dimension. So everything is in divine timing. Is that
time? I'm gonna give you a very easy example so you can understand that. All right. So your mind is not confined to your body. Whatever you think about, that reality is created. That reality is created. I'll give you an example, a perfect example. Everything is happening in the now, the internal now. You, as a conscious being, has the ability to access any reality that your mind creates. If you are at a traffic light, and if you're thinking about taking Highway 1, that reality exists. That reality exists. Then you think about, you're trying to figure out which way you should take home. The moment you produce the thought, you have already created parallel realities. All three have been produced. Now, which one would you like to experience? That's how powerful your mind is. Which one would you like to experience? They all exist. As a collective consciousness, humanity has chosen fear. But we are moving out of the fear now, and we're choosing another parallel reality. So, if you are thinking about cooking dinner tonight and getting your kids ready for bed, the mind is already experiencing it. If you are thinking about doing something tomorrow, the mind is already experiencing it. We know that because the projection is already in your mind. You have already created the projection of getting the kids ready for bed tonight and cooking dinner at 9 o'clock. The projection is already there. So therefore, the mind is already taking part in that activity. The body is sitting in Clubhouse. When the body gets to where the mind is what you call deja vu. You know, does that make sense to you, brother?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like when you experience anxiety, right? Like anxiety is like the evolutionary, part of your brain that tells you fight or flight, right? So if you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, they say, well, you got to run. But today, these are imagined things. So we literally, now I'm understanding down.
Whatever you imagine, whatever thought is produced, you create a timeline. But you do not have to experience it. If you were thinking about losing your job, you have this fear of losing your job. The timeline is already created. But you do not have to experience that if you don't choose to. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So whatever you create in your mind, a parallel reality is created. But it's all happening now. If you want to experience going to the kitchen and getting something to drink, you get up and you walk to the kitchen and you experience it at that moment. Right? So whatever you want to experience, you are projecting your consciousness into. Everything is happening through the thought process. The mind is doing all the work. The mind is creating these realities for you to experience in it. Now, when it comes to dimensions itself, it's a frequency. It's a higher frequency of vibration that we're moving into. So this thing with Joy's floor, realization, they will feel this new download as pain. Why? Because you are being detached from material consciousness. So now people are coming to rooms like this to experience something of more substance. So all of it is intentional.
Yeah, and I want to touch upon that as well, though. And when it comes to the dimensions, it's about a perspective, with a measurement, like length, width, height, so forth. The fifth dimension, inwardly, there is no form. Then since there's no form, and with perception of a universe with no form will emerge, then that's where you get no time at. Because there's no time when there's no form. You know what I'm saying? Time is the awareness of things changing from one to the next, the basis of time. You got cyclical time and the time we use on the watch, but that's human-made time, constructed time. The time every entity experience is the awareness of change. Like if you was in a dark, void space with nothing there except for your thought, then you could just think 1, 2, 3, you would still experience time because you know that your thought is changing from one form to the next, no matter what form that is. So the awareness of change is in itself what creates the experience that we call time. But when there is no change, when there is no form to be changed into another form, there's just energy itself, which is not changing any form, just energy, then there is no change, there is no time, there is no form, there is no thing. There just is. So if there's a massive growth of people in a population who experience a shift of perception that turns inward, then it will seem for that population as if they're entering what could be labeled as their, no matter what name we give to it, but it could be that. But I will say that this is not like a new experience for the world, because there's who have already been aware of these things, who have already been in tune with these certain frequencies. Large populations, by the way, not just like 3 people here, 4 people. So over the course of time and history, different populations come into different growth, and it is growing globally because we're becoming more and more connected with the introduction of the internet. That's like hieroglyphs, for example, or pen and paper. Like this brings the whole new method of communication that'll bring us closer together. But there are plenty of people who are certain things and were in certain states of awareness. I want to make the distinction that like this isn't a new thing for the entirety of humanity. That could create a delusion. I also want to touch upon when you said what makes you jump at a movie screen. That would be memory. Memory. The subconscious mind isn't the soul. The subconscious mind is the subconscious mind. The part of the mind where awareness is not shining upon. The mind itself is like energy, a certain type of energy that reflects consciousness itself. The mind and consciousness are not one and the same. Kind of as obvious because we can only be aware of a certain realm of things within our mind. Consciousness is non-form. Like there is only one consciousness. But anywho, you can think of it as like light. Like say light, for example, light itself, not just the sun. Because the suns generate light, but there's plenty of suns. And you take light itself and then take like a mirror, right? Where the light is reflecting off of that mirror, that's like your mind. Like light itself is like consciousness. It's pervading all spaces, everywhere. It doesn't matter where you go, light gonna be. No matter where you go, consciousness is there. It's in everything, in the rock, in the person, in the water, everything. But that mirror and what's reflecting off of that mirror itself is like your body, the entirety of your body. Every cell, your finger, parts of your body that you can't see, everything. And then you have consciousness reflecting off of it. I use that word loosely because it ain't a physical reflection, but reflecting off of this thing and emanating and pervading through this thing that we call our body, this organism. Everywhere it reflects into, it gives it the ability to respond into a certain way. And then it's all connected into a certain way, whereas it creates a form that's trying to preserve itself. Like Bro Calvin would say, everything as in like a certain form, a thing that you can identify that has boundaries and you can label it as one unified thing, has a mechanism in it to preserve that thing, including the thoughts and everything like you said. Any rules is synchronized in such a way that its mind is going to reflect upon this whole thing and make everything in it try to preserve itself. It's parts of that that's going to be outside of the awareness. The person, what are you talking about when he's talking about your ego, your personality, certain things like that? That's a portion of your body. Your personality is a part of your mind, a part of your body. And it's trying to, like you said, it's trying to preserve itself. But that is not us. Now that we call it the mind, but that's not the whole mind. That's just one portion of the mind. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We activate itself through thought and through memory, which makes you feel like what we call a person. But then there's other parts of your body and your consciousness that's being reflected through it. Like your cells, your white blood, like when you get a cut and it's healing, or your heart beating right now, or the breath that you're taking, you blinking right now, all of these things are being done through responses from your consciousness pervading through your mind and into your body. That is parts of your mind that's doing that. If you're just unaware of it, that's the subconscious mind. But that is not the soul. The soul would be the entirety of, well, I'm not even going to get into that. If I was to try to say what it is,
to make it simple, the soul is a sun. The soul is a sun, right? So, but it's not just any sun. It's an ancient sun. So our bodies are forged in the middle of stars. So the elements that make us up is forged in the middle of billions of year-old stars. So the soul is the seed of who you are. It's the essence of who you are. And spirit is what animates you. So when you get a chance, you look up. When you get a chance, you look up. My human body is made up of stars. So we are made up of, they call us light seeds or star seeds, and that's literal because before a star collapses into a black hole, the element of those stars that make us up. Of we're forged in the middle of those stars. But a soul is a sun. It's an ancient sun that existed before known creation. So you have that sun inside of you. You are a direct reflection of the universe, micro, macro, as above, so below.
Okay, so let's say that that's your birth, right? So your son, my son is in Cancer, right? So I guess, is that what you're saying?
Not the sun. No, not the sun. Not the sun.
Oh, okay.
The sun is a different sun. That's the sun of the physical world. The sun. This sun that forged you, which you are a soul. This sun that forged you was made long before known creation. This is an ancient sun. This is billions and billions of years of a star burning before it collapses into a black hole. This is an ancient sun that you are. It's a very hard concept for people to grab, because most people have not came out of the understanding yet that they're not human. So most people still are attached to the human concept. But, to make it simple, like, you are the universe. You are the celestial bodies. You are a star. You are basically a star. An ancient star. You are, you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
yeah,
so,
and I just...
So,
go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. It's so many questions. Because then, did you reference the moon being, I guess, is the moon being like your personality trait, like who you are actually? Or
no, these celestial bodies are our governing system.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
I have to do research.
Yeah. Let me give you some reference. You can get a book called Living with the Stars. Okay. Get the Kabbalion, the 7 Hermetic Principles, so you can understand. That's the first book I encourage people to get. The 7 Hermetic Principles, understanding the spiritual laws of the universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also watch. It's a documentary. It's a 2-part documentary. It's 3 hours long in total. It's called Astrotheology by Santos Bonacci. That'll put a lot of that in perspective as well. And I just wanted to touch on that, that time aspect as well. Because like I was saying, there's no such thing as time. You see, again, leading back, like right now, everything is messed up once our ancestors included them and let them come in and invade, and they messed everything up. See, like before, our ancestors, in that northern hemisphere would trace constellations around the pole star, the Polaris star. It's also known as the North Star, and it's that one star up there that doesn't move, and all of the other stars rotate around it. You see what I'm saying? So like right now, like we know damn well this world is not just 2,000 years old. Come on now, like our ancestors would trace, different shapes to create different shapes around different constellations. So, like the things that we go by now, these 12 zodiac and everything, like that's only in this constellation. You see, it takes roughly about 25,800 years for the Earth to go through one constellation. You see what I'm saying? So scientifically, they can prove that we've been through at least 88 constellations. So our ancestors, different constellations is what you're thinking about with different dimensions. So our ancestors, literally traced different constellations for 2,200,277 years at least. It's way more than that. I'm just telling you scientifically, what's out there, what they can prove. So the essence of time, so they did that so that they'll know, the different weather conditions and the different patterns. So they'll know what part, what part of the land they needed to roam to, to keep track of the seasons. It was about survival. And like the brother was saying, with the dreaming, yes, our conscious mind, it's always traveling to different realms while we're dreaming. It comes back as soon as it comes back. Then we wake up. A few weeks ago, I was in a room, and an African spiritual doctor came in there, and he shared something with us that they do with his tribe over in Africa. Like, he's currently in Africa, and like he says, like, as far as dreaming, because we're always dreaming, and depending on how our energy is aligned, depends on how much of the details we remember when we wake up from the other realm. Now, he said to sit a glass of water, because water is a conductor of energy, of electricity. So he said, sit a glass of water next to wherever you sleep. And then as soon as you wake up, drink that glass of water and start writing down what you can remember. He said that glass of water helps the physical body, the physical mind, to remember what was going on in the other realm while we were sleeping. And I thought that was very deep. I always just fall asleep and I forget to do that. And then I just remember it in different times throughout the day when I'm in rooms like this. But, that I loved when he said that, and I always share that.
But my thing is that I did not subconsciously want to jump nowhere. I wanted to go to sleep. I did not subconsciously say, oh, hey, I want to start scrying. And now I like doing, like, I'm not going to lie, I sit up in the middle of the night just to do it, because I'm like, oh, shit, this is really cool. So I did it last night, too. But when I'm like, I didn't even know what scrying was until I was asking somebody. I'm like, yo, have you ever been through this? And they're like, yo. And I'm like, I didn't ask for this. So I'm just trying to, like, have a basic understanding of everything, right? So even you saying, do this. Somebody said something about serenity, right? So even, like, I don't know why my first tattoo was serenity. I really genuinely don't know why, right? But then lately I've been thinking that the next movement in my journey is divine timing. And honestly, I don't think I've tapped all the way in there because, yes, of the fear. And I know I need to get over it. But sometimes I do be missing the days. Like, I'll be up on Clubhouse. I think it was up for like 2 days. And I'm like, oh, shit. They be like, Nuna, did you sleep? I'd be like, oh, shit. All right, cool. Or, like, I would just miss certain things and stuff like that. So, would that be the next chapter of my journey, is going from the serenity to, divinity?
Hey, Nuna, here's the thing. You do know. Everybody knows. We know everything we do. We know. We're aware. And that's part of understanding. So, not asking for something is also asking for it, if that makes sense. Not asking for something is also asking for it. You understand? So you're conscious. You're living you're a multidimensional being. So there's a part of your mind that will create the thought that doesn't want to think about it. Not thinking about it is thinking about it. Trying not to think about it is thinking about it. It cannot differentiate anything at all. So when we say everything that happens with us, we do know. We get the downloads. We know why we decided to be with an abusive boyfriend. We know why we decided to be with a narcissistic girlfriend. We know. Right. We're responsible. You know why? Because we ask for them. Everybody in our life that we ever been in a relationship with, that we ever married, we ask for those people. People try to say, why did you ask for the pain? No, you asked for everything. You're not a victim to nothing. You are responsible. That's part of breaking the karmic cycle.
Right, and you're discerning. Okay, but can you please explain? I genuinely, I did, when I tell you, it was the weirdest thing. And I looked through my freaking glass door, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? But I felt so comfortable. It wasn't like, oh, I was scared. I just sat up all night and was just looking like, what the hell? I know I'm not tripping, so I'm like walking back and forth. But like if I get too close, I'll see shit. So if I go all the way back, I'm like, oh my God, you know. So I do know, I am aware. It's just I didn't ask for these things. You understand what I'm saying? So how would you be able to explain?
You have put things in your path. Okay, we have put things in our path. I'm sorry, we have put things in our path to help us remember who we are. To get back to our original state, we're just remembering. So even in the process, I get what you're saying, right? We choose our parents. So some people say, oh, you know, some people are coming through their parents, and their parents are this narcissistic, abusive people. And the reason why we choose them, because we are trying to heal the emotional body, the emotional lineage. We are trying to break a karmic cycle. We're trying to do something that they could not do. So we come back through them. So when we come back, we have placed things in our path to help us remember. But you're seeing it as I didn't ask, but you did. We existed before we existed. Before we came into these physical bodies, we existed. So therefore, from the boyfriend to the job, to losing your apartment, to everything that's happening in the soul intention, everything that is down the path, that is coming down the road that you're experiencing as turmoil and pain, we put things in our path to help us remember and get back to who we are. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, and that's my life path, which is 8.
Hey,
so I get it.
Let me drop a little something on you right quick. Let me drop a little something on you right quick, Nuna. Let me give you a little something. Also, these different entities or beings that you're seeing, they're, like he say, they come to remind you of who you are, different paths you was on, and different guides. You know what I mean? Now we can look at them. We can look at them as something negative and run from them for all our life. That don't mean it's gonna stop. Because some people, when we have these type of gifts, or we can see these type of these entities or beings, these are actual spiritual gifts. Just like playing basketball, running fast, jumping high. You know, all these different things that these different gifts that different people have, singing. You know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So these different gifts that we have, they demonized them and told us that, oh, this is something you should run from, you shouldn't pay attention to it, you shouldn't, you know what I mean? But they're actually approach these beings, to make a long story short, ask them what do they want, what's their names, what they come here for, how could you help me? You know what I'm saying? Teach me some shit, guide me on some shit, you know what I'm saying? What should I do in this? I'm not saying that you should take their advice.
I'll be on it.
But
and it's weird because I'll start writing again, and I'll start writing. And, you know, I sat with somebody, and I literally I have all these, like, I have like a whiteboard, and I will write, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm writing this for, and then I'll come back, and I'll be like, oh, snap, oh, okay, you know, I just think that it's just,
Can I tell something?
oh, I'm sorry, I just think that it's weird that it sounds weird to say, yo, it's too many people in this room, like, I guess the entities, and I don't know if I accidentally opened up something like with the prayers, you know, I did Oshun, or like, you know, I always go and I like dip myself in the water, which is my element, you know, so, or that I tapped into a different side of my brain, maybe by taking, you know, the shrooms while I was also in my element, which was I was in the middle of water. So I don't know if I probably like did something.
Let me tell you what that's called.
Are you speaking particularly about lucid dreaming and the things that you see in the midst of that? Or are you speaking about something different than that?
Hold on, let me run it
about
quick.
Scrying when
Let me run it to you.
Scrying, and I like doing it now, so it's just fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Cadillac.
I forgot what I was about to say.
I know what I was about to say. If Cadillac or someone else, you can kind of reset the room, and maybe because how to advance as a spiritual being, me and Nuna had asked a question before, and there may be some people who just got here, but I find this to be therapeutic. Brother Calvin, Brother Cadillac, Brother Brandon, and others have been extraordinarily helpful. But if we can stay on that path, if it's okay with you, Brother Cadillac, as the person who created this room, I would really like some more information on how I could develop as advance as a spiritual being. I'm gonna tell you why. most of the people here, Maya and others know, like I'm like I'm moving from atheism to like agnosticism, thanks to like folks like Randall, and get into African spirituality. And I believe that I'm God. I believe that the Black woman is God and that sort of thing. But it is so foreign to me, right? Like this spiritual shit that like my brain like it still like looks for proof. Like I like Lakomi and I like Santeria because I'm reading this book by Frank Baba Eo-Budje, where he's like, you don't need to believe, you don't need to have faith, and that's cool for me because I don't like that, right? But it's just like it is what it is. But this spiritual shit though, right? It's like Nuna, like I've had like somebody told me like you could be a spiritual atheist, right? So it's like even though I don't believe like in God, I can't deny the spiritual shit that I've been experiencing. Like Nuna was saying, like
just believe in something.
The dreams, like the fucking dreams. Like I didn't start having dreams until I went to to Oba. I don't know what Oba is. I think it's a priest or something like that. But went to the damn priest. He did this reading, and then I just started having these goddamn dreams. And then people started talking about these numbers, and then I started like looking at these numbers, and I'm just like, man. And then I started my ancestors started coming through my dreams. However, for folks like me, we need these spaces because I need to learn how to develop. Like what? Like do I need to go vegan?
I literally wrote you on Instagram and told me to give you the number so I can sit in your book.
Hey Jeff, I'm about to tell you something.
I'm gonna respond after you, Calvin.
You're still looking for belief, bro. You're looking for belief. You're looking to replace one thing with another, right? So this journey is not about belief. You don't need to go vegan. You don't need to stop watching TV. All right, that's now we're going into spiritual ego traps. Watching TV or not watching TV is not going to make you more spiritual or less spiritual. Going, you know what I'm saying? So what happens is you don't have to jump into anything right away. You have to.
It's coming for you. I promise you.
Listen to yourself. You have to listen to yourself. Meaning,
Thanks.
you are going to get the intuition that you no longer want to eat flesh anymore. You don't need to do anything that we tell you to do. Okay? When you decide you're tired of eating the flesh, you will take that path. Okay? So right now is don't look for belief, because people that lose religion, they need something else to replace it with. So this is a state of knowing, not belief. So knowing is now you wake up and you know you don't want eggs for breakfast. You want cereal. That's the state of knowing. Right? It's what you are feeling. It's what your mind is speaking to you. So therefore, one of the greatest fear is vulnerability. The ability not to reveal our true selves and to look for outside validation. We are constantly trying to find validation on what we should be doing. Watching TV is not going to make you more or less spiritual, but you watch TV with a sense of awareness. Okay, you can watch TV, but you do it with a sense of awareness. When you decide you don't want to watch TV, that will be your choice. It will be spoken to you because you will confirm it yourself. Because one thing about this spirituality thing, you can move directly. You can turn this shit right into religion, and you'll be no different from Christianity. You got what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, Brother Calvin. So people who are on this spiritual journey, what would you say, and others in the room, for others in the room who may be on similar journeys or more advanced, like what is the, like you said, knowing, we talked about the fifth dimension, we talked about meditation, we talked about raising vibration, well, loosely talked about these things. Like what, and it sounds like there's no definitive path, but if you were to advise someone who's coming out of religion or been out of religion, or someone who's trying to deepen a spiritual practice, and they're trapped in this like thing of like scientific proofs and shit like that, like what's the first step? Like,
Hold on, Calvin. Hold on. Hold on before y'all respond. Hold on right quick. Hold on.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. No, this is right. This is right.
I feel like religion is organized spirituality, though. It's just organized spirituality. Like, listen, a lot of religions are saying, I'm a spiritual person. I'm a particular religion, but if you really look at like what religions are saying, they're saying the same things we're saying. They just have it in an organized way, and they'll have different names for different entities and stuff like that. But but it's really coming down to how to serve how to become your highest self. That's the purpose of it all. So just remember your intention, and that is the main thing, and that will guide you. And don't rush it. It's a lifelong. It's a lifelong thing.
Can I say something when she's done?
Hold on, let me add something real fast. I want to add something. I want to address what Jeff was asking and also what Nuna asked a little while ago, because she was talking about these experiences that she's been having, right? And so I remember, I had forgot, but I remember, right? What you doing, Luna? You doing the work. You know what I'm saying? You actually going there with these different entities, calling on them, giving sacrifices, giving offerings. You know what I mean? And they actually coming. You feel what I'm saying?
And I definitely just found out my other one, which is chaos, which is the but the chaotic one. So it's cool, like just tapping into yourself and learning yourself. But honestly, you just be. I don't even know. Like, I don't understand why I be seeing these numbers. Or I'll like literally start writing like, 911, it's an emergency. I'm like, 911.
Let me give you this, right?
What's going on? All right. 7-Eleven. All right. Boom. It's trying to tell me something. What was I saying at that specific time? You know, I'm really paying attention. All right.
Or what you was thinking. Or what you was thinking at that specific time or going through, right?
Yes. Or sometimes I'll just tap out and then I'll just I bought a board that says things to do. It does not even match my freaking furniture.
So what I'm telling,
say my affirmations, plan your future, show gratitude.
Right. So what I was gonna tell you is this,
love,
right?
Money, and happiness. So that's basically, if that's what I want, I'm doing that work in order for me to get it. I already know that I'm loved.
And that's the proof. That's the proof that it's working. Yes. That's how you confirm is it working, because you'll start getting these divine signals or these divine thoughts. You know what I'm saying? These higher thoughts, you know what I'm saying? This higher energy will start coming to you, and it'll be revealing shit that you never really seen like that before. Then you be like, I'm tripping. No, you're not tripping. You're doing the work. So now it's coming. Right. You're not tripping because you actually opening your mind up. See, all these different entities and energies exist only within us. We is that. All of us is the source, and we is the source, but we are our own separate people. We are our own sons, just like he said earlier. Your soul is a divine piece of that source. You know what I'm saying? The dark and the light. You feel me? So because the darkness creates the light. The darkness, the thoughts.
It's called procreators.
Exactly.
Okay.
The thoughts live.
I really sat with my little self, and I'm like, yo, girl, I got you, like 5 years old, and I sat and I said, oh, you just wanted love. Now, why are you 27 years old seeking attention? You need validation? Come here, let me sit down and talk to you real quick. I love you. You doing good. What's up? Who hurt you? And that's literally how I just sit and I'll be talking to myself. But I just got that. I be like really crazy. Exactly. And I share the same, I think black-owned Aries, like Einstein, which is funny. So, I'll just sit and be talking to myself. And I'm like, all right, come on, 12-year-old little girl. What's going on? You didn't feel like you was heard. You feel like you got to just sit inside of the house and seclude yourself and not use your voice. All right, I'm 27 years old. And at this time, I had beef with Aquarius, my mom. But I am an Aquarius, and this is the age of Aquarius. So I sit down and I break everything down. You know, so sorry, y'all, if I'm talking a lot, but I really feel as though best thing you could do is just sit with your shadow, and it's not even that scary. I ran away from it for so long, and I thought it was scary, but my shadow's like really cool.
That's the devil. That's called the doppelganger, the double. That's you. That's your Lord self. That's who you come here to conquer. That's the Satan. That's the evil that you come over here, down here to manifest, you know what I'm saying, and become that Christ or that higher, you know what I'm saying, frequency energy instead of that lower, always, you know, being into the world, being of the world, worrying about the world, what they got going, what's going on this. And that's another thing. That's how they program our mind, right? Through information, right? Through school, through all these different books and programs. You feel what I'm saying? You know, the church program, the all these programs, school, choir, you know what I'm saying? Everything, music, you know what I'm saying? So work, that's a program, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's how they program your mind through different information or ways of being, right? So in order to get out of that shit, once you, like you say, you in it, then you analyze it and you see it for what it is. You watching the movie, you see it for what it is. Now, this ain't just no trick game. It's a whole different way you looking at the movie. You know what I'm saying? So now you have to analyze your whole reality. You know what I'm saying? Because now
so did I
that's
create
how.
My name?
Huh?
So it's okay. So right. So it's crazy. I just randomly looked it up. I'm like, bro, I know I'm a goddess or something. So I Googled it. I'm like, oh shit, hold up, wait, what? So so I basically chose this whole life, like basically down to my name, down to everything, I guess.
Yep. You're such a smile, Nuna.
And do you want to know what's funny? Last night I wrote Dreams to Reality. I don't know why, but now I understand why. So,
also, one thing I definitely want to tell you though is because I heard you say earlier that water is your element, and you said something about you're an Aquarius and your mother's Aquarius. Aquarius are the water bearers, but their element is not water, it's air, and that's why you tend to pick up things around you, like as far as like Akashic records and things like that. Like the things that's in your element is in the mind, truly, because you're an Aquarius.
Yep, and you know what, and also to receive more of those downloads, you know. I know y'all said we can talk about meditation.
What is a download?
To receive more of these downloads, these messages, the symbolism that the spiritual realm is trying to connect with us, and trying to give us through our dreams and other things. Like, you know, like with meditation, the importance of meditation versus prayer. See, prayer, because like when we pray, you know, like when we speak, that's vibration. You know, from my throat chakra. This universe is composed of darkness and vibration. So we speak and we send out those vibrations to the universe. See, we're getting in the way of the information, the downloads that the spiritual realm is trying to connect with us and trying to show us and trying to give us. So it's important. So through meditation and to meditate specifically 3 and 4 a.m. That's when the world is perfectly still. It's not rotating. It's not moving. And so through meditation, you know, we're still, you know, we're homing in. We're reconnecting. We're tapping in, and we're able to more of the symbols and the downloads that, you know, that the ancestors or whatnot from the spiritual realm is trying to connect with us and trying to give us on, you know, on this planet and in this realm that we're currently in.
To answer your question, who was that answer? I don't know if they're still in here. Somebody asked the question about what to do in the beginning of it. And my advice would be reading off. There's a lot because somebody had done a large amount of observations and then they put it in a way, it's like a cheat code basically. But my personal advice and my favorite is to just meditate and especially in nature, and to pay a lot of attention to the everyday things that we do, because this is the basis of our heart. That makes everything that we're talking about is everyday occurrence, you know what I'm saying? And to understand that you're not your mind or your body, like if you really pay full attention throughout your day, you wake up, you're breathing air in from the outside of your body. Every single human on this planet is sharing the same oxygen. This makes up a good portion of our body, right? Like 15% of our body is air. This is something that's shared throughout the whole planet, and not only through the planet, it goes out of the oxygen. Now, sunlight comes down from wherever it is in space. It hits every single plant, every single living thing on this planet. We eat these living things to make this body. Like this body wouldn't be here without the things. It's literally made out of the food that we eat, like literally. And the food consumes the sunlight. So this is what our body is. Like, it's made out of the entire solar system. It's made out of sunlight. It's made out of the food that we eat. That's what I'm saying. Pay full attention. It'll solidify, as Brandon was saying, it'll solidify as a knowing over time. You see that this body is literally food, air, water, light. And then once you know that, then it's going to be very easy to see that you're not this thing that's constantly being changed, this earth and sunlight and ether that's constantly renewed. You're going to know that you're not it, because you're going to be aware that you're changing, that you're making it out of stuff that's here. That's one way, one tip. Another is just meditation. And when I say meditation, I mean like listening to life, like no think, not trying to stop thought, right, but not thinking on purpose. Like, you know how you can talk and you cannot.
I guess I should look into meditating. So, oh my God, I'm sorry. If anybody else have a question, feel free to cut me off. I gotta learn how to control my throat chakra, y'all. Just jump in at any time, right?
Hey, let me reset the room right quick.
So,
let me reset right quick, and I want to try to stay on topic because I want to start discussing some things we could actually use and some stuff that we've actually been through that we can get with the people, you know what I'm saying, so they can start advancing their self and their whole, you know, spiritual reality. So I just made this room about how to advance it, how to advance as a spiritual being, because it's like, I mean, I know some things. I know a lot of other people know some things, you know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to create a space where we could share some shit, you know what I'm saying? And actually, but I do understand what we're talking about now, and that's actually the art of knowing and how to be that which we call, you know what I'm saying, the universe, you know, or God or whatever, you know, we might want to be. But for us to get to that realization, it's all this different hidden knowledge that we've been talking about. So I appreciate everybody who's been, you know, going through and helping the moderators, you know, follow the moderators, you guys. We're going to try to have more spaces like this because it is kind of a void where we all can get up here and we all can talk and share our thoughts. And so also, I just want to shout out to all my people, man. I see y'all in here. Maya, Amir, Brandon, Jeff, Nuna, and it's a few more, you guys. And we're going to keep going, man. But let's just try to give some things. So I just want to get the first thing right, and I ain't going to be long. The first thing we have to do is know that we are the mind. We is the soul. We is the source. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to really go outside of ourselves and look for things outside of ourselves. But if you want to, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want to call it, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what name, but just start knowing that you is that thing. You know what I mean? So that's how you, all this magic stuff, and magic just means to create a thought and then to bring it into physical reality. You know what I'm saying? But like the guy was saying earlier, the visualization, you know, when you wake up, you already see yourself brushing your teeth, grabbing your shoes, putting your clothes on. So you do it without even thinking. You know all about your keys and get everything before you walk out the door. So it's the visualization. We do it without even thinking. But now you have a better way to actually start visualizing, knowing that you're the source of you creating this whole reality through these thoughts. Now you can start visualizing these higher yourself in a higher light, in a higher being, as you know, the source, and not just being as like a human, I mean, a spiritual, but also your physical reality. Start visualizing yourself with the stuff that you attracting into your life, the stuff that you need, the stuff that you want. And I would say to not let it be a physical thing, you know, if you could, but we need physical things because we physical beings here right now. But just to make a long story short, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this, right? So I be controlling the rain and stuff like that just through my thoughts, right? So if it's a sunny day, you could sit out, meditate, you know what I'm saying? Just sit out, clear your mind, you know, release the tension in your body. You don't have to be in a certain pose or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Or you could be standing up and fully aware in front of a crowd of people. But what I do is I just tell the rain, look, man, we out here. You see, we having a good time. If we ain't just doing nothing but sitting out and drinking up under the carport, you know what I'm saying? You know, go on, get on, go somewhere, you know what I'm saying? You know, I tell it in my thoughts, though. I don't tell it out loud, but I can do it out loud, too. But if it's a lot of people around, I don't do it. But I'd be like, man, y'all want me to make it stop raining? They'd be like, this nigga here crazy, you know what I'm saying? I'd be like, man, do you want me to make it stop raining? I can make it speed up raining. What you want me to do? So I'll be like, I'm going to go home and make it stop raining. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, they scared and they look at me crazy. I'm talking about I done did this multiple times, and every time is the same thing. So, you know, and I just go in my mind and I put that.
Have dances for the weather.
You used to have to do that. We used to have to do that at another time, and you still can do that. But you still can do that. And we used to do it, you know. Absolutely. We used to have to do that in order to do it. But now the energy is turned up. You know what I'm saying? We're in a whole new age. So that means that this whole cycle is speeding up. Our energies, the sun, all these different forces from the universe, these different stars, because all the stars are suns. They're more in line with this age right here, what we coming to. They call it a Christ consciousness age. You know what I'm saying? You can do some research on that. It's a paradigm shift. And that means that we finna come back. It's a golden age, actually. So that means we finna come back to our highest potential, you know what I'm saying, before the cycles. Because the zodiac is just a clock, it's a wheel. We just rotating around it, you know what I'm saying, certain ones over certain cycles. And depending on where you at is how the energy going to affect this whole planet and this whole universe. You know what I'm saying? So, but this cycle we coming into, it's a golden age. So it's like all this stuff finna be revealed. Our energy is finna turn up. We gonna be the Noahs again. We gonna be back on top. So it ain't nothing really physical we got to do. But the key is to keep us trapped down into a lot of the physical stuff, the physical fighting, the racism, the, you know, the economic stuff, the this and the that. It ain't got nothing to do with it. Daytime on the planet is limited strictly by them having a recessive gene and us having yeah, right, dominant gene. You know what I'm saying? So we ain't got to do nothing. The energies is doing that anyway. You know what I'm saying? The cycles is doing that. They was on here for a certain time anyway, trying to prolong it. That's why they blocking the sun. You feel me? So it's like, but to develop this magical mind, you just have to know that this the shit you could do. That's all you have to do. Just know that I am the source and be the source and command the energy. Anger is a powerful energy. It gets shit done. You know what I'm saying? So not only do I just go out in the rain and I just be like, stop raining now. I say it loud in my head, like, stop right now. You know what I'm saying? Within 10, 15 minutes, it stops. So that's some shit you could do if you want to do that. You know what I'm saying? And develop your mind. Say that again.
Well, I said anger can help. It's like fuel. It's like gas. Like you got the 87, 89, 93. Like you can fuel yourself with anger. It helps you, especially if you're running on a certain type of engine, a certain type of awareness, then you may not be aware of what it is, under certain understanding necessary, not you in particular, but when a certain thing happens, if you're not aware of a certain thing, then you probably ain't going to be able to inspire or motivate yourself to handle the situation without anger. But once a certain clarity come about, anger is no longer necessary to fuel you to motivate, you know, to move forward. Like, for example, a little kid may be getting beat up by a bully at school or whatever. In order to defend themselves as a kid who not aware of why this little kid is bullying them, they may need anger if they are in a state of insecurity to defend themselves. If they want to fight back and defend their body, they may need to be angry. That might be helpful. But an adult male or female who is being assaulted by another adult who has the level of the comprehensive ability to understand why or how this person may be fucked up and dealing with a certain situation in their own mind, they may not need to be angry at all. You feel me? They can see that this person, oh, you're insane. You fucked up. You can defend yourself while laughing. Like, yo, don't come no closer. I'm going to smack the shit out of you. But you ain't got to be angry. You can do the same situation. That's all I'm trying to say.
Like, can I just say something real quick, guys? Just about anger. Well, first I wanted to say is, well, there's a reason why the powers that be gave us humans that all of the range of emotions. There's a reason why, because it's supposed to be a tool. So anger is it's a condensed energy. And you have to know how to direct it, because a person can have a lot of anger and they misuse that energy and end themselves up in trouble. I have done that before in my younger years. They end themselves up in trouble because it is. It'll have you in jail, or it'll have you in the grave if you give into it too much, versus overstanding of saying, well, wait, I am going to allow myself, because I'm a spirit having a human experience, I'm not going to judge myself for feeling this way. I'm not going to judge myself for feeling anger. And right there, you immediately put yourself in the vibration of acceptance, because you allowed yourself to feel that way. If you're heartbroken, you're allowing yourself to feel sad, allowing yourself to feel that way, but do not act. That is the main thing. Do not act on it. Even if you're in a fight. When I was a teenager, my daddy used to always tell me, never get into a fight while you're angry, because you will lose it. You will lose that fist fight because you're clouded. Your judgment is clouded, and you can't see straight. So it's all about, like, because maybe somebody did violate you or give you to feel that way, and then accepting it, and then channeling that energy into a positive direction.
So can I tap in really quick?
I
really just want to pedal from a different point of view. So from Cadillac Black talking about going into his mind meditatively and stopping the rain, from my point of view, he's speaking about honing in on the spiritual realm. So as soon as he talked about that, the two things that came to mind is mental capacity, knowing how much mental capacity you are actually using your neuroscience, because a lot of us don't realize that we're not using the full parts of our brain. We don't know yet how to tap into this. That's why we're talking about chakras and spirituality and you know how to what is that, decalcify the pineal gland and such. But I got Shango energy from Cadillac Black. Shango is the god of thunder. You know, he's the one who handles that. So when you tap more into the topic of advancing as a spiritual being, Cadillac Black has tapped into a portion of his mental capacity to a level where he can hone in to the anger of the Shango and create that power here on earth. So he knows thyself, and in that way, excuse me if I get a little bit compassionate, because I was listening to the anger point of view, but I feel like when we're spiritual point of view and you're tapping into your spiritual guides and you're tapping into your ancestors and you're tapping into knowing thyself, that beginning point of your spirit. Once you tap into who is protecting you, who walks before you even leave the house, that prevision of I'm leaving the house, I'm grabbing my keys, I'm going out, this, I'm going to drive here. You know not what is coming in between you and the office that you're going to, or you and that appointment. So your ancestors, your spiritual guides, those who have passed on to protect you in the other realm, they done already went and stomped all over those obstacles. So Cadillac Black is honing into the mental capacity of the spiritual realm and allowing it to become physical energy, but using it with purpose and intention. And that is my piece.
I was going to say the same thing, Empress, but I didn't know if everybody was on the same page with the Orishas and stuff, because basically, just to make it short and elementary level, our faith, our African faith, we connect with nature. So when you say that you told the rain to stop, like Empress had said, that is when nature is alive. And Western world doesn't teach you that. It actually suppresses it, because that is what has gotten people, like, for example, in Haiti, that has gotten them their freedom. Is they're like, oh shit, these people are connecting with, oh no. We gotta stop this. They too powerful. Suppress them, put drugs, everything. They wouldn't go so hard if there wasn't a reason. And it's like what Empress said. It's like that is the reason. So Cadillac, you are very connected with that, because that energy is Shango. He represents thunder, strength, and a lot of other things. He is these energies. That's what I'm reading. What I was going to say is that I'm sorry, I'm wrapping it up. That's actually what I was going to say is that when you ask the rain to stop raining, like, it's alive. The thing that's saying, okay, I guess it better rain today. You saying, yo, stop it. It's like, wait, what? I'm here. Most people just ignore me. Yeah, it's all shit.
But I don't ask it. I tell it. I don't ask it. But I agree with you 100%. But I don't ask it. I tell it, because I'm a part of that. That's a part of me. We all the same.
Right. Yeah. You are nature too. We are nature.
Exactly.
Yep, facts. And every so-called thing, whether it's an animal, a vegetable, or a mineral molecule, or an atom, an ion, or an electron, etc., all of it is the result of one intelligence expressing itself in different rates of motion. So, let's adopt the word "it," for example, and let's just say that the I stands for all eternal, and let's just say that the T stands for the vibrations, the actions or the motions. Yeah, Joe, can you mute yourself? I'm gonna mute you, bro. I hear you. Okay, so let's just say the I stands for the eternal, and the T stands for the actions or the motions. So so we say things like it rains, it's cold, it's all right. What do we mean by it? We don't really know. Some would say it's the weather, others would say it's a natural phenomenon. That very may be the case. but everything is just one intelligence of this universe expressing itself in different ranges of motion. See what I'm saying? So Cadillac, you know, he's definitely spot on with that.
Hey, I want to tell y'all about this book that I read, right? It's called Psychastra. And what it does, going back to what the Queen Empress was saying, it was saying that it teaches you how to direct these different energies that's in your brain through the thoughts and where to send them to and how to actually, you know, all type of shit, man. This is some powerful shit. So I got it if y'all want to just inbox me. But go ahead, man. We dropping knowledge on this shit.
Could you explain to me about the eyes and stuff? The you was talking about like the Horus or something, Brandon?
Yeah, Horus. Well, Horus is the Greek name for it. It's Haru, Asar, Aset, and Haru.
I'm asking you because I'm trying to have a better understanding.
Oh, so okay, yeah, so Asar, Aset, and Haru. Okay, so Haru, it's Kemetic spirituality, and again, it was just they were just different deities or symbols that help to tell stories and principles of astronomy, and you know, and so Asar. Okay, so because it's a lot of stuff. Okay, I'm trying to summarize it. So, but pretty much, Haru, the son of Asar and Aset, Haru represented the sun, the sun, and like in religion, all religion, but especially Christianity, because again, like I said, you know, earlier, like an hour and a half ago, I think, you know, like in religion, they, you know, they copied Kemetic spirituality, and they edited it, plagiarized it, personified the characters, and resold it back to us under a state of oppression. That's why I mentioned, like, you know, like when it says things like Jesus walked on water, Haru walked on water. When it says things like Jesus was born from a Virgin Mary, Haru was born of a virgin. You know, which represented the age and the constellation of Virgo. So I mean, it's a lot, and I can go into depth of it, but you can just yeah.
Well, you already know why I'm asking you, because now it's like the more that I'm learning more, I want to actually have like a proper understanding of is that, I don't know, like what I sent you, like, is that like even real, or are there like different names?
I can give you a different
like,
understanding.
It's real, but different names. What you sent me again, that was Greek for what they got from Kemet. See, which is Egypt. See, like Greeks, when they invaded Kemet and took over, they changed the names of everything into Greek names. So that's when they changed the name from Kemet to Egypt. That's when they changed the name from, you know, kings and queens over there to pharaohs. That's, you know, they changed the name and named some of the pyramids like the Sphinx and everything. So like in America, like let's take our language for example. You know, we know like people say like English is one of the hardest languages, probably the true, because all of the words in English that we say, they literally mean something totally different. You know, they're just Greek and Latin root words, Latin, which is Roman. And so like when we say things like the Holy Bible, you know, that's the English translation of it. The real like Holy Bible in Greek is Helios Biblios, and that means the sun book, the SUN book. You see what I'm saying? So like when you look to religion for answers, you got to go back farther than that. You got to go to the original source. And in Kemet, That's just day by. You know what I'm saying? So like a lot of other religious stories and stuff. That's why like the creation story, that like Noah, that flooding of the earth and everything. That's in a lot of other, like the flood story in the Bible is also in another text called the Epic of Gilgamesh, and that's 5,000 years older than the Bible. And all that's representing, and I didn't find this out until I went over to Egypt. All that's representing is when the Nile River overflowed and when the water subsided, Egypt was formed. And and when the water subsided, the people from Sudan, they migrated. They went up to that area, and from Sudan, from the Stellar Coast, they those people are who we now know of as the Kemetic people, the Kemites.
Okay, so does that have anything to do with the deities? Right?
See, no, the deities that they created, they didn't create deities to worship them and things like that. They created a lot of different deities to tell stories of and try to help explain how the universe works.
Just like the Bible does too, it's symbolic. Maybe I'm sorry to cut you off, but maybe Empress can help me. But like, so they said, so basically, when we talk about like Orisha faith, I'm not that person that pushes any belief on anybody. It's your job to find your own. That's just a quick disclaimer. But a lot of our faith, the Orishas, that comes from the happened when people from Kemet went to they traveled over to West Africa. So they have similar things. They have names. Yemoja in our culture is the spirit, the soul of the ocean, So in Kemet or Egypt, in ancient Egypt, they referred to that same energy as Heru, who is also symbolic, I guess, with Mother Mary, Isis, a lot of it. It's just an interchanging of names.
Okay, so who's the deity? I call it. It's called Oshun. Who is the one? No. I already know Oshun. That's my everything, right? But there's also one who is chaotic with the water. Please, somebody tell me. Are you aware of what I'm talking about?
I was going to finish this one part. I was going to kind of saying what Brandon was saying. I don't know if you've seen this, Brandon, but Zeitgeist, they're the part where they expound upon religion and how basically, I'm not trying to ruffle anybody's feathers here, but the intention of the Bible, aside from slavery, was to, the same thing like with the Egyptian mythology, is to explain to the masses what is really going on in the cosmos. Actually happen, because I don't want to ruffle anybody's feathers or offend anybody, but there is a highly possible did not exist. I'm sorry, please don't kick me out the room. Just listen. Please listen. He was actually, they say he's a plagiarized version. I think, Brandon, you were going there. He's a plagiarized version of the story of Horus, who also, and Krishna, and Mitra, that's I think a Greek god. So many different gods who existed, who these stories, the same story, the story of Jesus existed thousands upon thousands of years before Jesus' supposed birth. The same story, born of a virgin, but what is really actually talking about, the symbology behind that is talking about the sun. So you can almost say Jesus is the Orisha of the sun, but it's just a name. It's just the name. Ra is the god of the sun. It's the energy of the sun. It's the sun. It's the sun saying, I'm alive. This is what I'm doing for you guys. You guys are not giving me thanks, but or some of you are. But if you watch Zeitgeist, just watch the part on religion. I'm not really into conspiracy theories sections, but the part on religion expounds upon like how Jesus is just really one of many out. You know, I'm saying, like, I could still sit in church and listen to I could sit in any religion and listen to them go off because I understand what they're actually talking about.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna leave. Miyako. I'm not gonna leave you out there to drive by yourself. Yeah, when she said that, she's right. You know, she did like if you don't know who they are, I implore everyone to research. There were 3 Roman soldiers, and the father became a Roman emperor, and his ones who created the character of Jesus. And you know, and like Christ is a title. Christ in Greek just means the Messiah. And there were 16 other leaders before Jesus, the character of Jesus was created. There were 16 other leaders who held that title of Christ. You know, Christos in Greek. You know, it meant the Messiah. And see, and really in Greek, because like Miyako, and you know, further into other parts of Africa and stuff, to escape them, because again, they were bringing violence and they were bringing a lot of disease and everything as well. And you see, it was Roman and Greek culture, because the Greek invaded and took over Kemet first, and then a couple of hundred years later, the Romans, defeated the Greeks and took over as well. But like, it was Roman and Greek culture that when you're under Greek or Roman rule, they didn't care what other deities you had, but you had to worship a statue of whoever is in charge, is the leader at the time. So in Kemet, once the Greek took over, Alexander, y'all know of him as Alexander the Great, but I don't call him that. I just call him Alexander the Greek, because there was nothing great about him. But he took over, and once he died, his general in his army, his name was Ptolemy. So Ptolemy created a statue of himself, and he was forcing people to worship him, and they refused. And so he started slaughtering them by the hundreds of thousands. And that statue was called Serapis. And Ptolemy's nickname was Christos, because he held that title of, the Messiah. And worshippers of his statue, that statue was called Serapis, and worshippers of that statue was called Christians. And then if you fast forward a couple of hundred years later, the Romans are in charge now. And after the wars, the Roman and Jewish wars, they were trying to get the Jews to submit more to oppression. And the Jews were growing strength from the violent characters of the Torah. And so they wanted to create a more non-violent, Messiah for the Jew. That's when they created this Jesus character, and he was preaching non-violence and all of this. They were trying to get them to submit more to a Roman. You know what I'm saying? And a couple hundred years later, the Council of Nicaea. I'm not going to talk too much about these things. Y'all can research these things. I'd much rather you research these things and find out information for yourself versus just, hearing it from me or, another source. You know what I'm saying? But Miyaki, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Please correct me. I just wanted to chime in and add on to that as well. Because I didn't want to. I didn't want to leave you out there on a limb.
Right.
By yourself, because you're definitely correct. Yeah, you're definitely correct.
I have been learning that actually all religion came from Africa. They're just, even in India, nobody says anything when you go into a nail salon. You see their altar's in the front of the salon, and there's food in front of everything, and that's just them. That's just their culture. But us, we do it. It's demonic. It's like, what's up?
No, I'm so happy that you and Empress start talking about. You and Empress start talking about Lukumi, Caesarea, Ephi, Yoruba. That was actually the first stop for me. And I've been reading this book called Babylao by this one Randall. I don't know if he's in here.
Yeah, I heard you say that earlier.
Yeah, he put me on to a gentleman by the name of Obadiah. And Randall was like a skeptic like me. And I'm not, again, saying people should choose, my path or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that, when I went to get a reading, right, and that man just like read me for filth and then read and built me back up again. I never met this man, never knew this man. But what was interesting about this particular, his name is Obadiah, what interesting about him, he began to speak to me in my terms as an atheist. And then when I went back home, I was telling people before, so I started having these damn dreams. Like, her name is Aya. She look, I had dreams
because it's belief. If you don't believe in God, God will be like, okay. I ain't here. Do it on your own. You got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
All that. But what was interesting, the Orishas don't need you to believe. They don't even need you to have faith. That's not how this works. And when I got back home, I was sitting down and it was like, I was telling my peoples, I said, look, I done tried every, and I'm not trying to be funny when I say this, I'm just being real. I done tried every white man's religion, and I was taught to eschew spirituality because it's just embedded in you since you're a kid, like voodoo or Yoruba or all the other African traditional religions. I was told to eschew that, but here it is like this is something that comported with me. So the times that I've been missing my Uncle Mark and times I've been missing my grandmother or whatever the case may be, their energy has always been here. It only took for me to tap in. You feel what I'm saying? And it was just like, I didn't need to come to Lukumi or Setari or Ifa believing, right? And I love that about that because he was like, they'll show you, they'll show you, right? And it was like an aha moment. It was like, damn, so like this coming on. And then after that, I kept getting these like weird people coming up, and not just me, but people in my circle, right? Just everybody. It was just like, it started transforming. And so like, I remember the culminating experience was like, I created an altar or whatever the case may be. I was like doing shit that I've never said I would never do before. I'm giving offers and shit like that. And then I remember feeling something, sensing something. I don't like to use the word feel. I remember sensing something. You feel what I'm saying? I mean, it was a deep sense, like, like your hand is your hand, or, like you touch your nose and you know it. It's like that type of sense, right? And it was like, one of my ancestors was like telling me, like, hey, they call me Boo in my family. Like, hey, Boo, like an agnostic atheist. I went and called this family member, and I just started talking to them like what I was told. They immediately start crying. I mean, start crying. Like, whoa, you feel what I'm saying? They like, look, I ain't thought about our ancestor in such a long time, and I was just telling them, like, yeah, you got a boyfriend, boom, 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 boom. And like, if you like, and I'm not knocking anybody's religion, please don't take it this way, but I'm saying what I've experienced as a converted Jew, what I experienced as a, born into Christianity or as a Shahada taking Muslim, like, it's so many, like, spirituality feels like I have direct access. I don't have to go to my place of worship to get it. And I like that about African traditional spirituality because, like, I'm reading this book, and again, I'm still like here, so I may miss some things or whatever it is, give trust to my head and my heart. Like, I don't have to go, like, I do go get readings and I might have to do Igbo, correct for shit or whatever the case may be. But like, I got direct access right in my goddamn home. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I got direct access. Like, it's like the feeling, not the feeling, but the sense that you get when you know that you got like 10,000 motherfucking ancestors. You got their research. You got all these motherfucking powerful people behind you. Like, you wake up every day like, let's go. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I can never be enslaved. I can never be, my liberty taken away from me or whatever it is to be. And it's what made me want to lean more into spirituality because it's the proof, not necessarily like this hope or whatever the case may be. Like Baba Dick Gregory said, like, it ain't no hope. It's like you all said earlier, it's like a knowing. Like, when I wake up and I go to my motherfucking altar, I know they energy here. I don't gotta, and I know that they existed. You feel what I'm saying? So I don't gotta think of whether they existed or not. And then the Rishas, right? I love reading about when they say this is their vices. This is what they had issues with. It just makes you feel like this shit is like you and you are them. You know what I'm saying? It's not like this esoteric. You feel what I'm saying? You can only get it if you know what I mean? Like, do this 15 times a day and you got to do this, boom, 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 boom. It's like, no, this is your birthright. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it ain't no, oh yeah, you the chosen people. Yeah. And everybody else ain't the chosen people. It's just like, no, shit, we all here.
They kind of rebranded it as the law of attraction is what I noticed. So for me, what I did, I was like you. I grew up, I was born into a Catholic family, then was Muslim because my dad, prison, I was Muslim. And then I was just like, wait, I loved Islam out of all of the out of all of the monotheistic religions. I loved it the most because it was so disciplined. I still respect it. I respect it, but I needed more. And like you, I think I fell into like atheism. And then when I announced that I was atheist, let me tell you, it showed me. It was like, that's why I said it was like God saying, "Well, take all of this on your own, have fun." I would never do that shit again. I was like, oh my God, attraction. And it actually wasn't until last summer that I found we came in and started practicing this. Because it's rebranded. Because we're not telling you. You said that, Jeff. You said it's not telling you. It's not pointing to some story and saying believe in something outside of yourself. It's showing you proof of God, and it's saying like open your eyes, look around you. It's all around you. It's in you. It's the water, it's the earth, it's the land, it's the sun and the sky, it's the cosmos. That's why you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the trees. It's around you. Open your eyes. We're not telling you some story and it's outside of yourself and go pray, go to church. We're saying no. Tap in. Wake up in the morning and tap the F in. Matter of fact, before you go to sleep, tap in. Just like, it's all about being tapped in. And, you know, that's why we have rooms like this, is we're exchanging ideas on ways of tapping in, right?
Hey, can I add on to that, guys, for a second? This is my first time being in this room, and I love it so far. Thank you, guys. My name is Takinu, and I'm actually a initiated priest in Lukumi. I'm coming up on my 6th birthday in April. So I'm crowned Obatala, and Oshun is my mother, but I've been in this my whole life. And there have been times where I've strayed on my path. Like, for example, when I did my initiation to Ocha to become a priest, they told me in my new reading, because they're being reborn, they're like, hey, this is your new life. But they told me in my reading, they told my mother, they said, you need to watch her like a hawk. She's going to be doing things. And I'm sitting here. I got initiated when I was 15, in 2015. So they said, hey, you can watch her. And they said, they said, at some point, unexpectedly, you're going to move out of your mom's house. Like, nobody's going to see it coming, but you're going to move and you're never going to go back. And they were like, it's because of you. And I said, oh, anything that they were saying did not sound like me. So it happened one day. I was being crazy. I started smoking. I started drinking. And because I'm crowned Obatala don't mess with that. He don't mess with the drinking. He don't mess with the smoking. And they kept telling me, hey, you need to stop. Y'all, I was so crazy. Anyway, I ended up doing something. Me and my mom got into a fight. And, like, I got in my car and I left. And it was so many things that they told me that in many readings that I've had that I just was like, that don't even sound right. That don't sound like me. I don't believe it. And they showed me, like, girl, keep fighting with me if you want to. This is real. But also, they will tell you, if you follow certain things, if you really just do what's right and you have a good heart and your intentions are pure, then they will help you. And so, but praying to your ancestors as well. Like, whenever I talk to people who are really getting into Lukumi Santeria, I tell them, hey, start with an ancestor altar, because your ancestors are very close to you. I think a lot of people kind of look over them and kind of try to jump straight into the Orisha, but the ancestors, they need to be lifted up and prayed to, and they'll come to you and they'll help you.
Yo.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
You said that you was initiated as a priestess. Was you initiated as a Ianifa?
No.
So then can you explain to me what a priestess is, please?
Yes, so I'm talking about in the Santeria side, not really that I'm initiated in Ifa as well, but they're those are kind of two separate things when it comes to the priestess part. But I'm in the Santeria part as far as being a priestess. I'm also initiated in Palo, but I am I'm a Yalocha of Obatala. I'm crowned Obatala and Oshun.
So basically, she has different levels in the different spiritualities within Santeria. So that's popping. I love that. Go ahead, girl. Wash them spirits clean, baby.
Thank you.
That's dope. Can I tap in really quick? I wanted to kind of float through some of the energy y'all was pulling as far as the spirituality, going from Muslim, Catholicism, the Jewish and Jew and all that good stuff. I don't know if anyone knows this word, but mysticism would be the next level up. So everyone that has tapped into multiple spiritualities, that come from, no, excuse me, if you have tapped into multiple religions that come from the original spirituality, then you are practicing mysticism, which is looking at all the knowledges that are available, all of the isms, all of the ologies, all of the ways of life. And you're pulling from those individual places and piecing it together for your specific human being experience puzzle. Because not everything works for everything. But I will say this too. I've never initiated into Islam, but I've been asked to, and I've been around individuals who practice. So I respect it as well. Due to the discipline, I respect the fact that Jewish people say that heaven is on earth. You know, they put that out there. So I'm like, okay, cool. That kind of makes a little bit more sense than that heaven is above me and I'm supposed to die first to get there. No, I'm alive now. Let's make heaven on earth, right? We living, I'm alive, I'm breathing. Like, you know, so I try to pull from all the theories and piece it together. So don't ever feel like you have to stick to one thing. It's okay to transform, evolve, transmute, grow, ascend. All of these things it's okay. And it's going to happen because we're going from 3D to 5D, and the shift is moving very quickly because we're in that air water age right now. And Virgo full moon is all about balance. It's all about balance. Balancing order with chaos. As above, so below. In front, behind, left, right. Like, there's no gray area right now. It's all open. The awakening age is here, and this is why we're all on this platform right now, exchanging this energy. So I appreciate y'all so much.
Exactly. Thanks. Anybody else wanted to speak? Y'all in the audience, y'all can come up. What's up, Scammy? Maya, Scammy left.
I'm in the background.
Yeah, like what you said, Empress, I heard before, is like we all could be a little right or we all could be a little wrong. But that's one thing is that I love about ATR, African Traditional Religion, is it doesn't tell anybody that they're wrong. And it kind of already holds space. I actually heard that you can practice, that's the cool thing about it, you can practice African Traditional Religion and be Muslim and be Christian at the same time.
Do you know why, Mayoki? Do you know why?
I don't, but I'm gonna guess, and I'm gonna let you answer.
Okay, go ahead.
Is it because they come from it, right?
Exactly. Everything comes from ancient Kemet, Al-Kebulan. It comes from that part of our original diaspora. And because it's been masked and chopped up into pieces and separated and pulled apart and put all this negativity, hoodoo is scary, but it's not. Hoodoo is not scary. Voodoo is scary. Voodoo, something's wrong with voodoo. But hoodoo, nah. Voodoo, nah. That's a different
Or level. The bad people that practice it, because there's good voodoo people, right?
Yes, of course. It's all about your intention and purpose with what you're doing. Incantation, witchcraft, magicians. We're all that wrapped up in one. It's just what pieces you want to tap into. So, like, the fear that they pump behind ATF, African Traditional Religion, is that what you call it, Mayoki? ATR, right?
Yeah, just the umbrella term for like all of them. You know, Santeria, voodoo.
I like that. Yes, I like that. So, acronym ATR. We have an umbrella, and then you have, or the tree, right? We look at the tree of life. You have the tree trunk, and then you have the different branches that come off of it. But they all make up the tree, no matter what. It doesn't matter which branch you decide to flow off of. You're just going to make that branch grow. Some branches might fall off, and they keep on growing back. So it's all a cycle of life. Nothing is a coincidence. Everything is written, and we all here for purpose, for real, for real. So, yeah, I appreciate that, Mayoki. It comes all back from Al-Kebulan. And if you don't know that name, tap into that. Alkebulan, Al-Kebulan. Another name for Africa.
Hey, y'all, I just want to also say that is so true. When I had one of my readings as well, when I got initiated, they said, you should go to church sometimes. You need to go to church and just listen and pray. And they said that would be a good place for you too. But it wasn't in a way of, hey, you don't need to believe in this. But it was an opening to, it's okay to look into and practice other things as well. And that came out in my reading. That wasn't just somebody telling me that. When the shells fell to the floor, they said, you should go to church.
Because church is just a place to commune, to congregate. Like you don't have to be there for Jesus. You can be there for the message. For real. I used to love going to church because of praise and worship. That was my favorite part. The singing, the clapping, the everyone's in the accord. We all sing in one song, and the vibration be so high. But, it's a vibe. And then you can leave after. Go with your spirit. Go with your energy. You don't have to stay through the entire sermon. If something starts to not resonate, I get up and walk out. Have a good day, Lord. I'll see you later. I got my juice. Thank you.
Or, also the other thing, too, is...
they invoke spirit. I was going to say that.
The one thing that I'm learning, because I used to have I'm not used to, but that's why I have a serious aversion to Christianity because of what they've done to our ancestors and what they've done to the Black community and what I perceive as being ineffective. However, it was a priest who said, like, look, but your ancestors served the Jesus. And so, like, I went to his house and he had, like, cross. Of course, Lukumi is like, they adapt, they hid the religion from the Catholics. So a lot of the stuff is like Catholicism infused or what you think, but it's like really they saying to kind of keep their tradition alive or whatever the case may be. Outside of that, though, he was saying that your to connect with your ancestors, right? Like they served Jesus, and so like they may understand that you don't have to necessarily believe it, but if you got a cross on your altar, you feel what I'm saying, as an honor to your ancestors, it's cool. Crazy part about it, as soon as he said that, right, I started thinking about all the damn church songs that I used to like, right? And like my aunt was a minister or whatever, and I'm like, man, I don't even know if I want to watch because I had a fear of regressing, right? I had a fear of going back to that limited belief. But like a wise man said, like once your brain is like a rubber band, once it expanded, it could never contract back to its original size. You feel what I'm saying? So like getting over that aversion to, I mean, like if I understand it correctly, please correct me if I'm wrong. Like if it's literally about your spiritual journey, it's literally about your ancestors, whatever. Sometimes you have to do things that are, sacrificial, right? Like I give my grapes and my fruit and all this other shit or whatever. But the other thing that I have to learn how to do is, well, look, man, you want their help. You feel what I'm saying? And this is how you connect with them. So whether it's Muslim, Jew, or Christian, you have to do it. I think we've just been me personally, let me say this, I've been so jaded by Christianity for several reasons. It's like, that's part of that ancestral veneration and whatever that I need to overcome, because I'm not ready to go to church and listen to this man pump, falsities from the Bible. I'm not ready for that, right? But I can't say on one hand I'm not ready for that, but I want to speak to my ancestors who their entire lives that's all they knew.
Well, can you do like kind of like what I was saying earlier? Like now at the place that you're at, you can go to church and like just hear the real message and what they're saying. They may not know what they're saying, and not even the pastor, but you can know, like, when he's talking about that, they're really talking about, this is what gets the message, right? Because it's like you said, like if you had for me, I have a grandmother, she's Catholic. I keep on my altar for her Virgin Mary stuff. I mean, like things that represented for her that maybe they want you to go to church because, like you said, that's how you connect with them. That's same way you put their favorite foods up. They may be like, yo, can you just go to church for me? So, yeah.
That'll be tough. I'll tell you that.
I had to leave church.
I tell
church
them no.
I couldn't do the man standing in front of me thing neither. So I feel that.
I like Reverend Ike. I haven't been to church in years, but I listened to I actually was just listening to D. Jakes this morning. I listened to because it's kind of like motivational speaking more so than punching down my head. I'm going to go to hell if I have sex before I'm married type of thing. Like no. I want to hear just have the hype, the right. I'm gonna take what I can from it, but I do like Reverend Ike. If you guys ever wanted to, like, he was back in the 70s. He's more on what we're talking about, and they demonized him because he was talking about how to get the people out of poverty, and they were like, "Oh, he's materialistic." No, he's like, "Well, most of the problems that are happening in the hood is not because the love of money, is happening because of the lack of money. These people need they're living in a tangible world. They need tangible exchange of currency.
Being a revolutionary pastor, that's like a new modern Martin Luther King. They're gonna shut him down immediately before he get to anywhere far. So I didn't even know those existed still. So I'm definitely gonna.
That was in the 70s. He's dead now. That was the crazy thing. He was talking like this in the 1970s and 60s. And I had brought him up to my mom recently. And then, because, you know, she was born in 66. So, of course, she would know. And I was like, Mom, you know who Reverend Ike is? She was like, yes, and you should not be listening to him. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. This is how they must have seen him at that time. And he's done a lot of interviews. And I seen an interview he did with Larry King. You guys just research him. Like, just watch his videos on YouTube. I can almost guarantee you will love him because he was a church pastor. But he was, like I said, teaching the people how to use their mind to manifest.
Exactly. Hey, they got another black preacher now, though. He used to be a preacher. I can't think of his name, but he dark-skinned and bald head. This nigga, he'll be going in. He be breaking that Bible down, too, from a spiritual aspect instead of, like, that the other way. So I could fuck with church like that.
Don't you think it's weird that the church is now becoming your motivational platform versus preaching Jesus is alive and you're gonna go to hell, like Mayoki said? And like, I don't even, to be honest, now that y'all saying it, I don't even hear the virtual churches and stuff like that talking about you gonna go to hell if you gay. You gonna go to this? Like they don't even scream at people like that. They don't even preach sermons like that anymore. Everything is just about living good, doing right, you know, being righteous and doing right by your friends and your family, and how, you know, the evil can lurk up on you and trials and tribulations. I don't know if anyone agrees, but I haven't really heard much about the bashing part.
I think they're adapting to the times because they said, I feel like people aren't going for that no more. And then second, I even heard recently, maybe like a year ago, that the Pope, they took something about, they removed from the religion, they removed the theory of hell. I don't know. Maybe you can like Google that and like research that more. But I remember that they took they're trying to adapt to time. Who else heard that?
Yeah, you're right. It's Kyra. You're right, Mike. I heard some along the lines of that, but you know, let's be clear about it. You know, the church, a lot of it is it's going to be based off of bringing in money. So, like you said, Mike, that was a perfect point. Like, the times have changed. Modern times, you know, now it's 1970. We're talking about 50 years ago, right? Like, the economy has massively shifted. There are a lot more opportunities out there. We didn't have the same opportunities that we had in the 1970s. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe in the 1970s, that's when women's suffrage started to occur. So the earlier point that I think Empress brought up, it was talking about, you were talking about how the Pastor Ike was preaching, and he was talking about poverty. So I actually just did some research. I wrote a paper like all weekend. It's a pretty long paper. And one of the points that I remember from writing this paper is fresh on my mind, was talking about poverty-stricken families and poverty-stricken. It was as it pertains to gender and crime, because when you think about notorious criminals, you think about men. You don't really think about women. You can't really name a lot of women who are notorious in crime. You're going to say Al Capone or Ted Bundy, or, you know, you're going to Jeffrey Dahmer. You're going to name these names that are men. So as it pertains to women, one of the things that they do that gets us in a vicious, never-ending cycle is Black American women who are poverty-stricken are going to be attracted to dangerous men. You know, gangsters, whoever, you know, whatever paints that picture for you, dangerous men. So if they're single-parent mothers, or if they came from a nuclear family and they have like a son, who is that son going to emulate now? He's going to emulate that dangerous man. So no wonder that recognized and criticized Pastor Ike in the 1970s is because that's going against their scheme. That's going against their master plan. You know what I mean? He's fighting against what they're creating that's going to keep us in a poverty state. So that's exactly correct what you said about Pastor Ike.
You're familiar with him?
I've heard of him before. I haven't watched any of his sermons or anything like that.
I struggle with watching sermons. Anybody at all? I do listen for content. I listen differently. I don't listen for like a feeling or a feel good mood. I purely listen for content. That's for anybody. TD Jakes, whoever, everybody y'all named, even like the Israelites, they break down the Bible. I don't really agree with all of their methods or, how they present, what they know or what they think they know. But I straight up listen for content because I like studying, research. I like history, and I like finding out the truth. So I've heard of them, but I haven't listened to his sermons because that's my own personal idiosyncrasy. I don't really like listen. I never really got a feel good feeling from going to church. And then at a point in my life, I kind of struggled with it. I thought to myself, I'm like, damn, like, am I evil? You know what I mean? Like, I never really got like, I go to church, like Empress, I heard you saying, you go for certain things. And if the sermon or whatever it is, if the service isn't resonating with you, you get up and walk your black ass out, right? But it's like, I never felt good about any of it though. Like, I was like, just never ever. And then it just seemed to me like when we talk about, like, me and Zapunzo talk about this a lot. Zapunzo, I like your new picture, by the way. That thing fire. But
thank you.
You're welcome. We talk about this a lot, like in the church, where it's kind of like they're so devout and so certain with what they know, but it's like, if you weren't there, how do you really know? You know what I mean? And you're just so certain. And I just, personally, what I do is I like cross-referencing. I like getting ideas from different people or thoughts, or finding, anecdotal evidence, as my brother Scammy would say. And I like cross-referencing this. And that's how you find the truth. It's like, hey, this person said that, this person said that, right. I say this, you say that. Where do all of those points intersect? Maybe there's some truth there. So, that's kind of my method.
That's why you're not in church, because they're gonna chastise you behind for asking all them damn questions. Like, boy, sit your behind down and take this juice and do this ritual.
Exactly.
Like, they don't like in the church, especially like in like Baptists and Southern churches, they don't not allow children to express themselves. Like, you can't do nothing. They are programmed. That's the word. They are programmed to think that Jesus is really going to come out the damn sky and chastise them in such a way that I don't know. I don't know what the fear is. Just pumped way too much, and it goes all the way back to the 1500s. So it's like this thing is heavily pushed, and it's we're breaking the cycles now by talking about spirituality and the levels where religion pieces in between all of this. Because the stories, this is the part that I wanted to get to, the stories of the Bible, the stories of the Quran, the stories of any ancient book, the Book of the Dead, the Akashic records, the Emerald tablets, any of these documentations that you tap into that were before our time are only stories to remind you of who you are. They've already been written and played out, whether Jesus was real. They say Jesus was Horus. They say Horus was this person. They say that person was that person. So as far as I'm concerned, they all one entity, broken down and evolved over time due to survival. White people had to create some type of survival tactic. Why? Because they came from the Caucasus. They was dirty. They didn't know nothing, and we taught them everything. So what did they do? They went when they was over there in England. They came over here. They was running from spirituality and enslavement. They didn't like what they was getting, so they came over here. Oh, these people are here. Well, let's snatch their shit. So it's hurt people hurt people. They were hurt, so they came over here to hurt us. We were so beautiful, peaceful, loving, harmonious, war with each other. Naturally, we do war with each other. But through original diaspora, we have certain days of battle. We have certain days of war. We have certain days that you test your opponents from the other tribes. There was always purpose and intention with this. It was to help strengthen your weaknesses and things. Even if you go into Asian culture, there's always purpose with that level. So I just feel like the purpose and intention just needs to come to all these different mindsets, all these different consciousnesses that are built up within the human being thing. And in my perspective, all religions and spiritualities tap into do unto others as you want done unto yourself, and good things will come to you. Or if you do bad, bad will come to you. They all say the same thing. So it don't matter what your sin is. It doesn't matter what your way of life is or what your sexuality is or whatever. Like, none of that stuff matters. Just do good things for people, you know, and just don't freaking, like, you know, like, be yourself. Just be yourself and do good things. Like, no one person is good, but you can do acts of kindness. You can do acts of, you know, like, act upon these things. Like, do not react, if that makes sense with y'all. Like, I hope that vibes. But it's very simple. Life is very, very simple. And with this awakening that I'm going through, I just really want to express that if there's any complications going on with you, whether in your family, with your friends, or with your spiritual journey, anything, just relax, breathe, chill, take your time, one day at a time. Every day you're awakening. It's a new energy. No one is just woke. No one is healed. Every day you're gaining new information. Every day you're doing new things with this body that you're learning. So don't trip up yourself with, oh, I'm over here and I'm over there, and just be you. You know, be you. If you're a little trippy sometime, be a little trippy. If you get a little loud sometime, be a little loud. If you're real, real quiet, that's cool too. Like, no judgment. Like, stop. I'm not saying people in here do it, but don't let people be allowed to judge you. It doesn't matter how high your spirituality is or where in the beginning part. Don't be judged. Don't be judged, and don't judge other people. You know, but you can pay attention to people's character based upon your can't see, because that is really who they are. That shadow, that's most likely who people really are, and they hide it real well. They hide it very, very well. Pay attention, open up your third eye chakra, decalcify that pineal gland. If you have questions, talk to your fellow people in here, talk to your fellow, you know, soulmates, confidants, those spiritual guides. Tap in, because it's our time. You know what I'm saying? We got the floor. It's us. It's we. We are the 666. Okay? We are the 666. 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, 6 protons. That is melanin. That is melanation. That is the black man. That is the black woman. Yo, I'm telling you, it's
that's
the universe.
Cadillac, thank you for existing. Oh my God.
Thank y'all too. I want to exist through y'all. Hey, I want to tell y'all, man, I be over there with scamming them in the Center Stage podcast. If I ain't over here, I got my own little thing going. That's where I be at, man. I be dropping little shit here and there, but I mean, we be on some black shit too, man. We be on some like uplifting and how we can improve the, you know, the community and all types of little stuff, this and that. So, you know, that's why I be at over there with them. But yeah, let's get it, man. I agree with you, Empress, man. Y'all. I was just gonna touch on a lot of stuff, man, but I don't want to hog the mic. If anybody else want to talk, go ahead. But I got a list of shit we can tap into and go in on. There's notes I'm taking, you know, to respond or whatever, to just further my different thoughts. Anybody want to speak?
Yeah, I have a thought, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. Yeah, first of all, I definitely want to thank you for hosting the room. I've been listening to everybody and taking in a lot of knowledge. I just hope my perspective can just can help anyone. I can offer some value. So when I look at the topic and I hear or I read how to advance as a spiritual being, for me personally, it came at a time where I realized that we're not special from anything else, right? We're not special from anything else that we see. And a lot of religions kind of say, you know, you have dominion over the earth, right, or whatever they'll say. We're not special, and we're not any less special from anything else, right? So when we look out into the stars, right, we see, oh man, this is beautiful. We see the beauty around us. We see, you know, a beautiful plant or a beautiful act, or a beautiful energy. We're as individuals aren't less special than anything else, because we're all one, part of the same being. And when I look at when I think about consciousness, right, in terms of we've all come from the same conscious, right? So if we've all come from the same consciousness, then everything around us is conscious, right? And when I think of that, I think of it as temperature, right? We have cold and we have hot, right? They're just varying degrees of the same thing. So when we think about, let's say, when you drop something off your bookshelf, right? We think of a book as not being conscious, but when you drop it, right, we hear a sound. That sound is a frequency and a vibration. Right? Even though we can't see it, that's a form of consciousness. And I think what a lot of when I say that's a form of consciousness, that's no different than what we are. It's just a different mind into thinking that we're separate from each other, we're separate from the spiritual world, we're separate from the earth and other things that are around us, when really we're all the same being. We're all the same consciousness, just varying degrees of it, and we just haven't to touch the tip of the iceberg of really what's going on from either a spiritual or conscious standpoint, right? So I say all that to just say that when we begin to think of us as being one, right? Like Empress said, is you want to others as you want done unto yourself, because you already do that. Right? Any energy we expend to anyone else, we're just passing it back to ourselves, because we all come from the same consciousness. And when we think of, I'm trying to tie it all up in a point that makes sense. I hope I'm making sense here. When I talk about when I tie that back up with the vibration, when you drop the book, that sound that it makes, right? Kind of like we can't see the spiritual realm, right? So if we think of terms of when we die, we transcend to another version of consciousness, right? So and because there's no end or no beginning, we're all here. Consciousness doesn't come from anywhere, and it's not going anywhere. We could all just be another form of vibration that's already gone and passed, right? Kind of like when you think the Big Bang, we could have just been the blast on. We're able to look at from another standpoint.
That sounds like the happening feeling theory. You know, like if you cut a tree. Romel?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Like the tree that you would cut down that you don't think has a feeling. You know, there's been a theory about that. Trees don't have any feeling, but they're rooted to the earth. So I think when you cut them down, they might not cry, but there's a silent frequency that's sent out that we cannot hear, that goes down to the earth and up to the sky. And you know, yeah, so I can understand that. It's infinite. I think that's what you're trying to say. Energy is infinite.
Right. Yeah, it's infinite. And I like the tree example. And I'll try to relate it this way. When we look at the COVID situation, I'm not trying to get, political or anything like that, or, just there's lots of conspiracies going around. But I'm thinking from a COVID standpoint, we know there's something going on, and people have died from it. Right? We could think of COVID, we could think of any other virus, but I'm just taking COVID in this standpoint. So COVID is a virus to other bodies, and it sucks resources from the body. The body to the point that the body is either severely damaged, needs to recover, or dies. I think that when we cut down the tree, right? The tree is Earth. It's from Earth. Earth is a living substance, and humans are kind of like that virus on the planet that goes around, sucks up resources, damages the planet, and the Earth as a living organism has to find a way to get rid of the virus, which is why, we have natural disasters, and, we talk about in terms of climate change or anything like that. We have natural disasters, we have cold, we have floods, we have, sicknesses. It's just another form of consciousness trying to heal itself. We heal ourselves from a virus, which is a different form of consciousness, what's kind of doing to us what we're doing to the planet. So we talk about the tree feeling the pain. Absolutely, it does. it cries or it tries to find a way to heal itself, connect itself to another form of consciousness, which is the earth.
I kind of think about it, dealing with the concept y'all dealing with. I kind of think about it like, what if I just go outside and step on a pile of ants, right? Do them ants, like, do they lives really matter? You feel what I'm saying? Is it like a karmic consequence that's going to come of me for doing that, you know what I'm saying, for taking that action? And so I realized that, like you say, we really don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you have to realize these tornadoes, hurricanes, and all these acts of nature, they come through and they don't give a fuck who in the way. They just take out women, kids, men, you know, whole civilization sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but I look at it as only energies that's returning back to the source. And I kind of agree with you, and that resonated a lot with me when you just say that how the earth got to create a response to get rid of the virus that's on the planet. You know what I'm saying? Because like we stayed here, we polluting the oceans, we polluting the air, we got all these chemtrails, and the whole energy is really to fuck over the masses of the people. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a whole energy of its own. But by them putting these different forces at play, you know what I'm saying, with the pollution and all of the, you know, the fracking and all this and that, right? Creating earthquakes and all these different storms and all this different, you know what I'm saying, poisonous food we've been eating or whatever. So it's like the earth actually it's a live being. Everything that's down here only exists because it's here, you know what I'm saying, and giving us all of the things we need to actually survive. So that resonated when you say that this motherfucker gonna put up his own virus, or his own, not his own virus, but his own immune response to wipe our ass out because of the shit we doing. That make perfect sense, bro. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I agree with that. And it's bad. Sometimes it sounds harsh, but in the Bible, it does say that that we will be like sheep in the slaughterhouse. There is something that says it like that. And sometimes maybe my theories may be a little too far-fetched, but I'm really thinking now that y'all brought in that fact that, you know, even these genocides and the wars and all this stuff that's happening around the world, like, if you don't know your purpose, if you don't know your path, if you don't know who you are, Mother Earth is like, yo, listen, you are taking up too much space. Like, you got to go because I got to birth these new babies. I got to birth these new trees. Like, little by little, California was burned down, you know, to a certain extent. The Amazon got burned down, like a snow situation. So we got all types of climate change, global warming, weather distractions happening. Comfortable on planet Earth. Like, this is meaning we still have to take care of it. You know, we're in space already. We're turning with Mars and Neptune and Jupiter. Like, we're in the solar system. Also, if you're walking outside your house, knowing that you have a trash can inside your house, or you're going to the gas station and you decide to throw a piece of gum on the ground. I don't know if anybody knows this, but birds think that gum is food and they eat that, and then it gets stuck in their systems and then they die. Like, what the heck? Like, you're killing the naturalization of what birds do. Birds eat the ants and spiders and all that other little shit that you're not supposed to stomp on. Like, I'm scared of spiders, but guess what I try to do? I try to hurry that mofo out of my damn house on a paper. I try to scoop the bugs or the moth out the window. Nice. Like, I'm not killing anything. So let me allow you back. Go ahead, Cadillac.
No, go ahead. I'm just saying facts. I'm agreeing. I'm the same way. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I make sure that I try to push the nature back out to nature. You know, don't kill them. And it took me a while to come to that, you know, meds, because I was stomping everything out. Like, oh, you ain't supposed to be inside. Oop, kill that. Oop, you ain't supposed to be inside. But it's like, no, we're also on their territory. Like, they done built concrete jungles on top of the nature. So they're like, they crawling up through the walls and stuff. Like, hold up, what's all of this? This wasn't here before. I thought this was a tree. Okay, let me see now I'm in the corner of your house and you scared of me, but I'm not scared of you. And now you're battling nature, like, in such a simple way. And it becomes unfair to you and the stuff that's been naturally here, which is also you. Like I said, we are the nature. So, you know, we just have to realize, take your trash inside. Don't throw your stuff on the ground. You know, like, try not to throw stuff out the window. Environmental green matters. We need trees. We need clean streets. We need clean air. It's bad enough we got fucking cars and gasoline and, you know, all this stuff pumping out. So definitely need that vibes, the energy. I feel bad for the trees, though. They get cut down regularly. Mm-hmm. And then planted and then cut down and then planted again. Hybrid trees. What y'all think about that? Hybrid trees is not giving us clean air. Like, how do you... I don't even know where this real tree's at. Like, how does that even work?
And as if the wood and the particle board and shit they build in the houses ain't bad enough, now we're going to have hybrid wood.
Hybrid wood.
Generic. You know what I'm saying?
That
generic
burns
wood.
down mad easy.
Right. But going back to somebody mentioned how, like, we was on the subject of the Bible and Christ and the energy and this and that, whatever, right? So I see it as Christ is like the higher spirit, the higher self, like ruling over the lower self, which I consider like the devil, Satan, Lucifer, whatever you want to call it, right? Just lower thoughts, lower vibrations, lower energy, right? Negative shit. You feel me? So it's like, but I mean, when we dealing with the form, like somebody was saying, 666, right? So like 666 means just like I mean, you got to think about it. It's carbon, right? That's the chemical element number, which is the element number yes. 6 on the chart, right? So 666, I mean, they taught us in school that, you know, this is a carbon-based universe, right? So that means that carbon is really the makeup of this whole thing. You feel what I'm saying? And carbon also makes up the large majority of melanin. You feel me? So it's like everything you burn, it goes back to carbon. You feel me? So it's like that carbon is the actual essence. It is the actual into light. You know what I'm saying? And dealing with the carbon again on a physical level, like, and I tell people, it's, you know, coal is 100% carbon and diamonds is 100% carbon, right? And the only thing that makes the diamond and the coal difference is like the pressure in the atmosphere, right? So it just depends on what thoughts you manifest and what frequency you on, as if you're gonna have higher thoughts or lower thoughts, or higher reality or lower reality. You know what I'm saying? Because the thoughts create all of this shit. And whereas these thoughts at is in the triple black darkness, it's in the nothingness, it's in like our soul. They can't detect what organ it actually resides in the body. You know what I'm saying? They just know that motherfucker present everywhere. It is the energy. It is the chakra system. It is the electricity that they detect when they fucking with your heart, reading your heart and reading, you know, all these EKG machines and all this and that. That's what they detect in your actual soul, your energy. You feel me? So like they know what it is. They've been fucking with it. They know how to harness it. They know how to control it. They know how to tune it in, tune it down, you know what I'm saying, through music and different thoughts and vibrations and shit. But the key is to realize that you is the thoughts, you is the vibrations. I mean, it's like, but all of the shit is you, but which one you gonna tune into? Which one you gonna manifest in reality? So it's like, if you won't control your thoughts, somebody else is. So that's why they keep us into the different negative shit with the music, with the TV, with the radio, with the whole everything, you know, the politics, with the food, with, you know, they intentionally keeping our vibrations low as fuck. You know what I'm saying? And it's for that purpose of manifesting us this lower reality that we've been existing in, called the hood, the ghetto, nigga, the whole little concept, because they know that we, like somebody said earlier, we are the batteries down here. We are the source. Everybody feeding off of our energy. We are the biggest consumers. Why? Because they got us where we got to work the longest and work the hardest so they can have their heaven right here, because they know that this reality is a heaven for a human. You know what I'm saying? This is the human heaven. And since they were created here few thousand years ago, 5, 6, 7, however many thousand years ago, you know, that this world was created for them, and they was created here on the world because they are of the world. But we are before the world. We are before the creation. Somebody just mentioned that earlier. We is the consciousness. All this shit is one thing. You know what I'm saying? Most people call it God, but that is the shit that's making your heart beat, that's making your cells divide, that's making your digestive system digest. You know what I'm saying? That's the source. That's called life or soul or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so I ain't gonna be long-winded, but I just wanted to put that out there.
Can you do a reset? You got a couple of new people. You mind doing that?
You do it for me, Queen, if you don't mind.
All right. Peace and love and coconut oil to everybody that's in the room and the audience. Thank y'all so much for coming in. This is How to Advance as a Spiritual Being. We are talking about every aspect from the beginning of your spiritual journey, the middle. If you're in your continuing awakening, it doesn't really matter what level you're on. We're speaking about everything. So if you want to come up to the stage, if you have a question, if you have a comment, if you got experience, a story, if you have some enlightening to give us, it's full moon in Virgo right now, Pisces energy. So come flow with us if you want to. Ping some more people in the room. Definitely get this flow of energy popping. And definitely thank you for everyone that's sticking around in the audience to listen in. Yeah, let's keep it going. Thank you so much, Cadillac. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the main things that I figured out down here about our whole existence is how we have to control our energy, right? Because like your energy is everything. It's the source of your whole existence, your soul, you know what I'm saying? So like a lot of things down here deal with emotions, you know what I'm saying? And that's one of the big challenges we're going to have down here. When I say down here, I mean on the planet, is because we are spiritual beings that's having a human reality, right? A human existence, but we all got a spirit. We all got a soul. So I'm speaking from that higher level and not just from a human perspective, right? So the main thing is to control your energy while you're down here. And I'm going to even go further. I'm going to say we have to learn how to control it in real time, because we can always look back. And like they say, hindsight is 20/20. You know what I'm saying? So if whatever situation that comes to you, whatever challenges you, whatever obstacles or roadblocks get in the way, this whole thing is about experiencing that and overcoming that shit, and like doing it while still remaining in the most peaceful, you know what I'm saying? Not letting the shit really disturb your peace. You know what I'm saying? I use cuss words because, you know, there's just a way to describe, understand, you know what I'm saying, the language. So I'm not more holy than nobody. I'm not more knowing than nobody. We all are the same thing. We all the same thing. So like energy, emotions, that's energy in motion. That's why it's called E, which means energy, and motion means vibration. You know what I'm saying? So if I come to you, me and Empress start yelling and screaming at each other, we actually exchange light. And even though it's negative, so if I come to her and I tell her, hey, she gonna respond more likely in that way, because that's the way we are as humans, you know what I'm saying? But as a spiritual being, you have to learn how to harness that energy and what they call it, transmute it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. To a point where you actually are not disturbed, or you're not letting motherfuckers bring your vibrations down, you know what I'm saying? Because every life challenge, the school call, you know what I'm saying? My kid acting up, you know, my husband, he ain't called me in the last 2 hours. I ain't got a text, you know, my car, my tire went on flat, you know what I'm saying? You know, and all these situations arise to see how you gonna control your energy, or how you gonna conquer the situation, you know what I'm saying? It's just life, you know, we all living it, but most of us are living it from a human perspective, being in the world, but instead of, we've been in the world, and really your soul is just in this world, but it's not of this world. I tell people, you know, your soul is the only alien that's down here, because it came from somewhere, it leaves here. Everything else that's down here gonna stay here. It doesn't matter what it is. And I also tell people how, like, our children, our homes, our cars, our houses, our spouses, we think that we own these different things, but my son, his baby mama, she just died like a few weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? They had been together years before my grandson was even born. You know what I'm saying? They raised him up in the same house, whatever. But he understands the concept, because I explain a lot of stuff to my children too. You know what I'm saying? Because they have to know these things I'm passing down, so that they will know, you know, the right way to move. You know what I'm saying? Or just have the knowledge on what's really going on. And so he understands that he was just having an experience with her. So it wasn't all of the mourning and the crying and the this and the that. You know, I got to keep moving, man. Him, we got to keep going. My grandbaby, you know, they got to keep going. While they just had her for a period of time, and she was here for that purpose. You know what I'm saying? She served whatever purpose it was. Then boom, but we still got to have this experience. So the whole thing is like, how are you going to let these different situations, these challenges, you know what I'm saying? My mother hollering at me all the time, cussing me out, don't treat me with respect. You know what I'm saying? My father never being there, you know, such, whatever, you know, and all this different stuff that we go through, right? So the key is to just understand that you have control over this stuff. If you go into a situation and you stressing about it for 2 weeks, that's only because you chose to stress about it for 2 weeks. Because once you realize that there's nothing you can do about the situation, then boom, and you come to terms with that, you know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. Then boom, that's how you start regaining your peace. So we have to learn the art, what I call the art of letting go. You know what I'm saying? Because we have to understand that we kind of like just living in avatar bodies, you know what I'm saying? Having these experiences and going through all these different moods, sensations, and, you know, enjoying the food, enjoying the weather, enjoying the clothes, the cars. You know, we enjoying these things, but these things are not actually, you know, us. It's not actually something that's real and tangible. You know what I'm saying? Because anything that's real, it lives forever. It don't never die. Like gold, you could take gold, you could bear it for 10,000, 20,000, 3 million years. It's still going to be gold. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, if you take your car and you bury your car for probably 20 years, it ain't going to be the same car. You know what I'm saying? Because even though the metal will be there, even though the actual raw materials will still exist in a elemental form, but the car itself won't exist because the car was just a creation somebody created in their mind and said that this is what it is. And then boom, you know what I mean? We all went with it and believed it and said, that, yeah, that's a car. But the whole while, it's just a piece of metal and some rubber and some cloth and some material and stuff like that. Some other elemental things that came from the earth. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. Somebody else could talk. I don't want to go too far.
You ain't go too far. You knew where you was going when you was talking about all of that emotion, energy. You got to make sure you know that. Like, because we get caught up in being internalized by stuff. You know, fear is one of the biggest emotions that gets slapped on us over and over and over again. And then it becomes a part of your subconscious. So like deleting out the emotion of fear is a huge challenge daily. That's the first thing. Fear. Biggest one that I don't say that I'm scared of anything, but damn it, sometimes they, you know, you hear a little stuff on Instagram, you hear a little stuff here and there, you're like, oh boy, they is really going hard and they not stopping. Because as long as the televisions and the news stations are still open and stuff like that, they can make up and, you know, put together whatever type of story. So fear pumped society is definitely a huge part of like a challenge. Maybe I should say it's a challenge with being a spiritual being. Hey, Noble.
Peace.
That's a fact.
What's up?
Peace. Thank you for coming up. We appreciate you so much.
No doubt, man. Just chilling, family, music, tea, you know.
Okay. Tea is good. What kind of tea you drinking?
The nasty kind.
That means it's good for you.
It's healthy.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Bittersweet. I had these Manuka honey. My son, he like the suckers, the Manuka honey drop things.
Yeah.
The pops, he like these. So I snagged about 4 raspberry and put it in that. I don't know. This is why I need to learn another language. That's another way to advance as a spiritual being.
That's true. That's true.
Cascara, Sagrada. Saira. Whatever, I don't know. But it's nasty. So bad. But it's good.
What are you talking about, an herb?
Yes, an herb.
Okay, it starts with a C?
It's CASCARA SAGRADA.
Something Casaragadaga.
Cascara Sagrada.
Okay. Yes. I guess you need to find out what language that derives from.
It could be C. It could be Saskara. Because of that A. The way the A is an A. So it could be a Sa. Like Saskara. Saskara.
Yo, do you hear all the different ways that your mouth just moved? Like,
yeah,
it's serious when you becoming a spiritual being, for real.
Nah, for real. Like, that ain't even nothing to play with right there. You just dropped the gem. You just dropped the gem. Yeah, that's a fact. That is a fact.
My mother used to say, "Be careful, you might say a curse word."
You know what I mean? Because once you get down to the even when you are scripting, I don't like to say writing, but constructing, it's archetypes. Because when you construct, you're building, so you need archetypes to build, right? So the best languages have archetypes. You know what I'm saying? The more complex ones, or really the most simple ones to the world, because this one's the most complicated, allegedly, right? To them, to foreigners. And I can see why, because it's because even when it comes to simple other like sounds and things, it's simple. Like you get like you put these sounds together, and it's real easy. You can speak one language, and if you're clever, you can probably speak all the languages of the world if you just know how to fix your mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Actually, Cadillac, do you know, like, are you tapping into any languages? Do you like Swahili or like Latin or
Nah.
No?
Nah.
That's crazy, because that's really how some, or not some, but majority of our language comes from so many different derivatives. It derives from so many different areas of the world. And when we look into actually, like, I'm gonna call you Tech, okay? Tech there that was talking about being initiated into Santeria. You know, she has to have a certain tongue. She has to have a certain dialect that she can speak to be able to actually do the work. So it's like, I'm not saying that we're not doing the work properly here, but we may need to, just like I think Jeff was saying about, no, I don't think Jeff was saying that. Someone was saying about going to church anyway because your ancestors might have still tapped into church. I think it goes into the same way of your languages. Like, if you know your ancestral background to a certain extent, language should also, dialect and language should also tap into where that comes from. You should, I think we should be pulling from that energy as well, the way they spoke, where they dressed, and it could be very subtle things, it could be a scarf or a certain shade of red or a certain shade of blue that they wore, my ancestors.
Right, I agree.
You know what I've noticed with, I like to call them cosmic signatures, especially taking astrology to a traditional level when it's associating with the coming up. You can see it all, right? Predicting when it comes to being able to predict certain things, right? When you add those mathematically, you bring that to that level, along with delineating and being able to tell a story, right? You would see the colors, you would see the traditional aspects, and how you are literally going to progress in this lifetime. At least opportunities of progression. Does that make sense? It's not that. There's so many ways to say what's within a chart, but as far as being able to see the opportunities that lay ahead on a real level, when it's like outside of what you see online, when you do the work yourself and you're looking at it, it's like, oh, word. And you do the chart, right? Man, it really changes the game. Because then you're looking at Lion King, right? When they talk about the stars and the kings, right? And they saying, remember who you are, right? And then it's like, it's love to show, it's apparent to show the ancestors by tapping in and drawing in on that energy as far as Sankofa and the Sankofa type of style, right? But we got to get Afro-futuristic in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Like Wakanda.
Facts.
Like Zulu Nation type shit when they was on the tip, they was on a whole nother level with it. You know what I'm saying? Exactly like Wakanda. Exactly like Wakanda. You know. What does that take? That takes us to get back into our Renaissance type of militant lifestyle. You know, where it was swinging. You know what I'm saying? Saxophones. And the other types of sticks.
Yeah, music means, universe means one verse, one song. You know what I mean? One, uni, and verse is song. So like, yeah, that's how you tap into that spirit realm. Just think about it, right? You be in the club, that music jamming is loud, that club, that bass hitting. You know what I'm saying? You close your eyes, you had them spirits in your system. You know what I'm saying? Shit, the alcohol, and boom, you just go into a whole new vibe, man. And that's one of the only things that can't be mathematically calculated is dance. You can't mathematically calculate what the next motherfucker gonna hit on that dance floor. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, them drums.
I know y'all done been at some clubs or some parties where you ain't know. You saw a person walk in and you was like, I don't know what they gonna do. I don't know if they gonna dance or not. And then all of a sudden, 2 hours later, you see them hitting the dance floor, and it's like, oh shoot, this motherfucker doing the robot, and he doing the Humpty Dumpty, and it's a whole trap song, and it's like, oh Lord. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever had that experience, but I've been to parties where people just don't look like dancers, or they don't look like they're about to bust a move, and then 2 drinks later, 3 drinks later, you don't see them, and then all of a sudden you see them, and it's
spirits.
What?
See, alcohol, that's a way to tap into the spirit realm also. That's why they call it spirits, because it gets you out of who you think you really is, and they put that other shit, it unleashes them other entities that's in you that's with that turn up. So it's just different energies. You know, we've been taught to fear it, be scared of it. Why y'all think they shut down a lot of our clubs and stuff? It's because they're dancing, the same thing we did in them rituals over there in Africa and stuff like that. That's a powerful ass energy in our thoughts, and we think about oppression and I got to go to work and this and that. They could destroy some shit if we really focus.
You're breaking up, Cadillac.
Hey, my bad. I say that the thoughts and stuff. Let me see. My Wi-Fi been tripping too. But the thoughts and stuff that you have, and you in the club and you jamming, and everybody having these same thinking experiences about how I want to go to work and how I ain't got enough money and this and that actually manifests, because that's what we thinking, and we into that realm. You know what I'm saying, with that liquor and them spirits. So we just gotta watch them thoughts.
I agree with that 100%. The spirits loosen you up, but it's, again, it goes back to a purpose and intention though. If you're utilizing the alcohol and the liquor with intention and purpose, then you know what is going to come from that. But, clubbing, I've never been against it, because I've always gone clubbing for dancing. I've always gone to dance to release my stress, to let go of the week, to, it was always for personal gratification, never to go to show off, like whatever other people go to the club for. I don't know, all types of reasons, but it was always to release for me. Dancing has always been a go-to. The drum, the bass, the beat, they can't. That's why they took the drum away from us. They took it away.
Thanks.
They did take the drum away. When they took the drum away, that changed our whole frequency of. I don't know if anyone's ever gone to a drum circle or been in the same room as a kente drum or a djembe being played. Like that vibration and frequency of real music being hit by someone who's intentionally hitting. Oh my gosh, it's just amazing when people play music. Band saxophones, like Noble was saying before he popped. Saxophones, guitars, horns, trumpets, just flutes and all these great sound that we're supposed to have within our vibration and frequency on a daily basis to keep you calibrated, to keep you balanced. They in Africa, they did these dances, and then they did one at night before everyone departed and went to sleep. And it's like we've kind of just lost that whole way of how we're maneuvering through our days. Wake up, you get on the phone. Not everybody does this. I know we're practicing to the best of our ability to. Damn, I forgot my first 20 minutes. I ain't drink no tea. I ain't do none of that. Like I'm up. I'm on the phone. People are calling me. Empress, are you available? Can you come here? And I'm just like, damn, I ain't get to take care of myself at all. So you can't forget in this spiritual makeup and this whole experience. You have to remember your self-care, mind, body, and soul alignment. And that's actually what the full moon in Virgo is really all about right now. Is full moon Virgo Pisces. It's all about balance, y'all, balance. You can't work too much and you can't be lazy too much. You can't procrastinate and expect money. You can't do bad and think that it's going to come from it. It's not. You have to balance both ends of your life. If y'all, like Cadillac said, if you go on, let it go. The art of letting go is important for us to learn, because we hold on to too much materialistic stuff, and then when it gets broken or it you have to buy a new one, that's where the unnecessary anger gets stirred. Not on your babies. Now you're talking to your man or your woman funny now, because you're honing in that human being, emotion, and you're not allowing yourself to feel it and then let it move on. Feel it and let it move on. Practice shaking it off, y'all. Shake it off. No excuses. 2021. We know we're getting to know too much now. It's getting, and we're getting to know more and more and more. So confusion is a choice right now, for real. If you're choosing not to know, then you just on the other side, just over there somewhere. If y'all get what I'm saying.
Right, I agree, 100.
Yeah, Belle.
Kia.
Where y'all at? Scammy, Amir.
I'm here. I'm just listening.
I'm here, y'all.
I know you are, Kia. I ain't see you for a second. I ain't see you.
I'm listening, y'all.
Okay. Diosa. No? Okay, not right now. All right.
Hi, sorry.
No, that's okay. Just making sure we're still in the room with people. I know sometimes calls come in and stuff like that, so we're just checking in. Amir, are you here? No? Okay, Belle? No, not right now. Is it Tico? Tycho?
Yeah, Tico, we're good.
Tico, okay. Blessings. Peace and love to you, brother.
Peace.
Okay, Margaret, Black, Corey, Pamela, Elmitri, Cambria, Lucky Libra. Y'all can come up to the stage. Just raise your hand. You know what I'm saying? There we go. Come vibe with us.
Yep. Y'all got any questions, please ask.
Yeah, drop some jewels, ask some questions. What's up, Libra?
Hey, how y'all doing? I'm listening. I'm doing my hair right now, actually. So I'm just listening in, and that's all right now.
Okay, Kia, I saw you was gonna say.
Yeah, I'm Virgo, but I was just wondering what this moon in Virgo meant for me, and you've been answering, some of those questions for me.
Okay. I don't know if anybody else wants to answer, but I actually had a whole room open earlier about the full moon in Virgo. And I was reading from my Moon Omens joint. So basically it breaks down full moon in Virgo, and it says the full moon we experience in February, also known as the snow moon, due to the snowstorms that tend to be common at this time of the year in most of the northern and eastern parts of the United States. It says Virgo is an earth mutable yin archetype, ruled by the yin side of Mercury, directed inwards towards critical thinking and self-analysis. Virgo corresponds to the season of harvesting. The process of separating the weeds from the wheat symbolizes our capacity to discriminate, to discern what is useful and what is not. Similarly, the full moon in Virgo invites us to choose carefully how we invest our energy and focus, and to be mindful of how we invest our energy and focus, and to be mindful of how we manage the power of our attention. As an earth sign, Virgo has a strong correlation with physicality and earthly matters. In particular, it is associated with our desire to understand how our body works in order to maximize our health and well-being. Through Virgo, we establish and maintain healthy habits. We cultivate a positive relationship with our body and our health. And we choose every day to love and respect ourselves by paying attention to what we consume and intake, not only in terms of food, but also in terms of information, energies, and emotions. The full moon may reveal to us those habits and routines that are supporting our well-being and the ones that are not. As we gain more clarity and understanding ourselves and our reality, we are encouraged to make conscious daily choices from a place of self-awareness and self-love. So there you go, Kia.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's all about transformation, y'all. Balance, transformation, transmutation. And if you don't know what transmutation is, it's the process of the old cells in your body wanting to do new things. So, if you're feeling scattered, if you're feeling like you want to start creating, if you feel like you want to start your business, if you've been procrastinating about certain things, time to open up that portal for yourself, because it's manifestation and harvesting time. Stop getting in your own way. Get out of your own way. If you know that, like myself, my spiritual practice, I've been told through messages year in, year on in that I'm supposed to use my abilities, talents, and skills to be monetary, financially safe, secure, and stable. So, I don't ask for money, but unless I'm doing the mission's work along with that. So, tie those things together, tie your purpose into how you make your money. It's okay to do that. It's okay to tie your value and worth in your prices. I'm getting that somebody in here does waist beads or crystal wrapping or something like that. Like, people are creative in here. So whatever it is that you're creating, don't worry about putting your price where your price is. That's okay. But go with your spirit, because you will have people that come who truly don't have the money, but they truly need the product. They truly need the information. So do not shy away the information from them. Give it to them, because you will get your blessings in the next person. You will get your blessings in a different way. You will get your abundance in a whole different aspect sometimes that you never even thought that it was coming. I mean, you could help give somebody a crystal copper necklace today, and bam, tomorrow you got a house. You'd be like, Lord, I didn't even know. Child, please, that's how the universe works. It goes based upon your spirit and how you operate along with the universe. You can do it Y-O-U or you and I. You know what I'm saying? I'm all about language and dialect and etymology. So, definitely tap into your spoken words and things. And okay, come on up, El-Mitri.
Yeah, it's called sacrifice, what you were speaking on, Queen. It's called sacrifice. And it's only an exchange of energy. You energy still transmuted. So by you sacrificing and giving that, you put more energy to the good of your manifestation that's gonna come. You know what I mean?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, my bad.
Okay. I apologize. I'm you, brother. I'm not a stranger to the spiritual realm. I got a lot of it naturally. My sister was in here earlier, and she welcomed me and told me to come. I've been turning on to things for years. And the reason I raised my hand is because I got a question. There's a lot of people educated in here and a lot of different, I'm going to say practices, for lack of a better choice of words, but it's all for the betterment of us. And I get that. But I just learned something new, and it's not new to probably the rest of the people in the room. But
666. Now, understand, I'm a person that has studied all kinds of religions my whole life, and I'm a Capricorn. I'm very inquisitive, and I have always had the question, why were our people hated so much? And to see that 666 represents melanin, carbon 12. I've been sitting here researching, listening to y'all. I'm trying to figure out, why is it that they demonized us? I don't understand that. It brings a lot of things to mind, and it makes sense. But I've been asking this question from Africa, from apartheid, from coming to the United States and coming over here in slavery. Why was our race particularly hated so much on this earth? And to see that 666 represents melanin, what gives us the pigment in our skin, carbon. What happened? Has anyone found any research that can explain what happened to make them feel that way about us?
So I just want to tap in. So I ran into, I had the same question about the black man because I love the black man so much. And I feel like the black man is hated more than the black woman. And I just don't like that. I don't like it. I don't like it. So I went into a deep portion of my journey when I first tapped into like the first 2-3 years of it. I went so deep into why the black man is hated. So, and I ran into a woman called, her name is Frances Cress Welsing. And she wrote a book called Isis Papers. And that book, I'll say it again, Frances Cress Welsing. She just passed away in 2018. She wrote a book called The Isis Papers. And this woman changed my whole aspect on why. I think she called it superior inferiority. And she talked about how the black men's genital area is why that we're the biggest reason. It's not really the skin color. It's the fact that every time the black man procreates with another person, it don't matter what race, culture, ethnicity, dialect, language that you come from, it don't matter. You will become a melanated being initially. Like there's no trap in between there. There's no waving fact. There's no, poking holes in the boat on that joint. Like it's straightforward. It is what it is. If a black man right now goes and has sex with a white woman or Caucasian or whatever you want to call them, pale skin, that child is gonna come out freaking more percentage melanin than the other stuff. And they don't like that. They don't like that we dominate everything, even if we don't want to. By nature, we dominate everything. By naturality, by humanity, by the earth, by the dark magic, by the black magic, it's so natural that it fucks them up. It messes with their whole survival tactic movement.
Also, Dr. Frances, she explains that like she just said it 5 seconds ago that white people, they're more in a state of survival, so they're afraid of genetic annihilation with us being the dominant gene and them being the recessive.
Bang.
Yes, definitely. And she has a documentary also on YouTube as well that goes into that. And the piggyback on what Empress was saying. Yes, and when they used to castrate us after they would hang us for public display, I used to think that it was due to jealousy of the black man's girth. And well, that is a factor, that is a factor of it as well. But mainly, it was due to what Empress was just saying. It was symbolic to represent, the jealousy of not the girth of our members, but the seed, our sperm, because our sperm literally has the power to annihilate their whole entire race. Right. And like she was saying, their race is dying off. It's been dying off for decades, and they know this. They've written about it and they talk about it.
it's a meeting that Joe Biden was having with some of the leaders of the NAACP, and he mentioned that to them. You know, like just in this country, you can Google it. The Census Bureau. They estimate that by the year 2045, white people are going to be a minority in this country. Now, that doesn't mean black people are going to be the majority. It's going to be Hispanic. You know,
we already are, Brandon.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's because Hispanics are us. You know, we're indigenous to all lands and stuff. But yes, but definitely that is one of the reasons right there. And also because they hate us because they ain't us. You know, like they don't have the power that we have in the spiritual realm. You see what I'm saying? And like all of the things that, you know, that our ancestors used to do throughout history, you know, and they made the mistake of, you know, inviting them in and teaching them, and then they invaded and started taking over and stuff and changing things around and stuff to make it seem like, you know, it come from them. They were the ones that did it, when it's not the case. You know, so just again with you know, like we're reclaiming our place, and you know, it's happening slowly but surely, but it's, you know, it's happening. And so like for those two reasons right there, you know, those are two of the biggest reasons that fuels their hatred of us, you know, simply because we are who we are.
You know, I appreciate that information. I see the book. I'm gonna order that.
That's you know, yeah, that's a powerful book, brother. Please get that.
Yeah, and I think what bothers me more than anything is symbols are very, very powerful. Very. But when you indoctrinate a number like that and you place it in the Bible, now I mean I can go back 1600 King James. I mean I've been down that road. I don't demonize religions because I've seen where, just as you spoke earlier, there are pieces that have been taken from all over the globe, and I know where they originate from. But when you take that number and you say this is the mark of the beast, and this coincides with Christianity, and black people have been representing this and practicing this for years. I mean, my grandfather's a pastor. I was raised as a Christian. I've been to seminary school, not for the purpose of preaching, but for the purpose of understanding what it is that is happening here and how is this thing survived. And when you come to find out that this symbol that has been meant as the devil actually represents us, that is troubling. That's
troubling.
Hey, I want to give you guys another perspective on that, and I agree with everything y'all saying. I want to say this, right, because they broke down all of the physical stuff, right, and some of the spiritual stuff. Some people touched on it. But the Queen Empress said earlier that we were speaking on the stars and stuff like that, right? So, and it was mentioned earlier also that your soul is a sun, your soul is a star, your soul is conscious energy from the source. You know what I'm saying? It's actually primordial. That means it was born, it existed before creation of anything physical. You feel what I'm saying? So when we doing all the research on the stars and stuff like that, we have to understand that the stars are energies, are souls themselves. They are balls of energy, just like atoms are at the core. They like, it's just a ball of energy. You know what I'm saying? The nucleus. You know what I'm saying? And so, like these actual, and like I say, as above, so below. So the atoms below, the atoms that make up our whole existence, are also the same stuff we look out and see in the solar system. That's the same stuff, right? So the melanin or the carbon is the dark matter, the dark energy, the God particle. That's what they're trying to discover in these different labs around Europe and whatever. They got these hadron colliders, what they call, and they're trying to measure the actual creation of other elements by smashing them together at high speeds or whatever, over miles worth of surface. So they trying to find this particle. This particle, they already know what it is. We contain it. It's called carbon. It's called melanin. You feel me? And your pineal gland is filled with these crystals. So you are actually you are melanin crystals. So you are actually the source. That is the source. That's the direct connection from down here to up there. You know what I'm saying? Direct consciousness that's fueling this whole body that we live in, right? And so the stars are actual sigils, right? Symbols. You know what I'm saying? If you look up there, you look at Venus, it kind of look like some dealing with the little Venus little thing. You know what I'm saying? If you look at Leo, it's shaped, the star system is shaped like a Leo. You know what I'm saying? A lion, because these are energies or forces that's actually creating or not even creating, but affecting this whole thing that's down here. So like when you born, right, your soul is the sun, right? So it's traveling from somewhere. They already existed. You know what I'm saying? It's traveling from somewhere. It passes through whatever season that we're in at the time when you, at the moment of your birth. That's why these natal charts tell you how your energy gonna be down here, because all these stars are programming your soul, or actually affecting your soul as it comes down here in order to exist down here in this physical plane, right? So it's programming the matrix. So your soul is actually being programmed on this flight down here. So at the time of birth, boom, that's when it actually incarnates, and that's how it gets. This birth chart lines up, right? So the Dogon tribe out of ancient out of Africa, they still exist today, but they're an ancient tribe, and they've been telling these people about our souls come from Sirius. You know what I'm saying? The black people. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why Sirius is such a big deal. But Sirius is shaped like a dog, right? And so that's why they call and at the throat chakra of this dog, that's where Sirius sits in that constellation, right? So when we talk about Sirius, we're talking about feminine energy, right? We talking about the Sirius is actually the opposite, or the feminine polarity. It's the opposite of our sun in so many words. You know what I'm saying? So this energy, this is the sun that travels this 26, 25, almost 26,000 year cycle. You feel me? My bad, I got a call. But this is the star that actually travels this 26,000 year cycle in correlation with our sun. Is like the opposite. So the feminine energy died out over a period of time, and the Piscean age was the finish of that time. It was to go ahead and bringing the whole male energy thing to a head. So now God became a he. You know, the feminine energy was suppressed. We hate women, white people especially. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing. You know, white women just got their rights when we got our civil rights. So like, that was the whole suppression. And the ancients knew this because they studied the stars, they studied the symbols, they did astronomy, cosmology, all the stuff there, right? Astronomy, whatever. And so they knew that the energy was dying out. So they actually went and created these white people. They had already created them by exiling them, whatever, into Europe, whatever, and then running them up in them caves or whatever, where they made it with the Neanderthal. And it's factual. You can go look it up. The Neanderthal, each one of them. If you outside of Africa, you have at least 3% Neanderthal in your DNA, up to 13% I've seen. So the Neanderthal was an animal, but that's a whole nother story, right? So they were created here. I want you to get into it. I don't mean to interrupt. Sorry, because I was just thinking, where did white people come from? But okay. Yeah, they came from them caves. Yes. We actually took the albinos, our people, and exiled them into Europe because it's a better climate for them to live in. And then they went on and got forced up in them caves and stuff by the Neanderthals. You know what I'm saying? They were our people. You know what I'm saying? So the because they had that genetic defect of no melanin. You know what I'm saying? And then they went up in the caves for all those thousands of years. They come back out and boom. You know what I'm saying? So now they got this animal nature because they bred with the animal also. And so and he was more territorial. So they got all the territory. He was more violent. So they don't give a fuck about using some violence. And he was more violent, more territorial, and more tribal. So he only give a fuck about his tribe and his people, but it's all for survival. We are genetically annihilating them straight through love, straight through sex, straight through DNA. You know what I'm saying? Straight through the seed. You know what I'm saying? We convert them. And so they trying to, all this race stuff is really a race. They trying to win this race against time because they know their genetically modified cells is actually dying. You feel me? So but what we did was we let them come back out the caves. We went and killed all the Neanderthals, brought them back out the caves, and they got this book. I'm gonna pull it up in a second, but I'm gonna give y'all the sources of where a lot of stuff come from. But I studied in all paths and all different traditions, so it's not like I'm just telling you from one perspective. I'm not. So I'm just giving you a generalized summarization, and I get through meditation and all type of little spiritual work I do too, and so. Or upgrades or whatever you want to call it, right? So what's going on with the stars and stuff. We in the golden age now, so all this shit dying out. But that was a cycle. We brought them out of the cave and stuff, brought them back up, humanized them. You know what I'm saying? Because they was crawling on all fours, and all the stories you heard, they are of this animal species. You know what I'm saying? They don't have a soul. They only have a spirit. A dog, a cat, a rat, everything got a spirit. We were primordial. We existed before we came to this planet. They got created on this planet, and they mixed with a lower animal. So now they have to live in the animal realm. So this is their heaven. So they conquered their heaven. But we knew all this because we knew the time cycles was falling, dealing with the stars and the astronomy, whatever this and that, in this 25,000 year cycle. And so we knew, but now that we're back into this golden age, the Aquarian age, which is the this age of awakening, this Christ consciousness age, you know what I'm saying? Now our time is back, you know what I'm saying? So no matter what they do, this shit's still gonna fall, it's still gonna degrade. We still gonna be here. We always was here. We are the gods. We are the gods, came down in human form. We are the fallen angels. You know what I'm saying? We got contact with all those angels through our melanin. They don't have melanin. That's why that's why it kills them. That's why it do all the shit. Ask yourself this question. Have you ever seen a white person in your dream?
Whoa.
You know what? I
Ask yourself that question. Because they don't exist on the spirit realm. They only exist on earth. This they heaven. So yeah, I'm gonna be quiet, man. Give me one more second though. So it's just a time cycle. We brought them out the caves, we brought them through Egypt, we brought them, gave them Greek, this and that. Well, they kind of took a lot of stuff, but we taught them all of this shit. They didn't take it. We taught it. They came to our schools in Africa and we taught it to them. We taught them all our spiritual systems. The Moors conquered Europe from 711 AD to 1492, which is the same year slavery began. They went through Europe, conquered Europe, brought them out of the dark ages because they was up there with that animal shit, throwing shit all out the windows and on the sidewalks. London was a cesspool. The Black Fever, the plague came through, so the Moors came through, saved them, taught them all the new spiritual shit, all this. They just changed it into their language because they didn't have a language. So their language is the newest language. All this Greek and Roman and all this white stuff, that's the newest shit on the planet. Even English, that's the newest language, one of the newest on this planet. And so we taught them all of the information and stuff so that when we woke back up, which is right now, we would have this shit. So in a way, we kind of used them, but we kind of had to suffer because we knew it was the end of a type of a cycle of us going all the way to our lowest point and then going back up because everything has polarity. So the zodiac, the 12 zodiac are just 12 time cycles on the clock. It's the same thing, but it's controlling the spirit realm. You know what I'm saying? But since you exist outside of the zodiac, you are the fucking highest God that is in existence. Ye are all God, sons and daughters of the Most High God. They tell you in the Bible. And then they say, let the same mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus, who thought it not a crime to be the same as God. But they take all that. They don't teach that. They just teach you how to, all this other crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? But they hide it from you because if you know what they know, now you become the God. Now they can't control you with none of this bullshit down here because you existed before this. You just down here to do your thing, enjoy your shit, you know what I'm saying, and get back. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? Let me expound on something that you just said. I'm sorry, but I gotta say this. You refer to it as they know all of this. That's the reason why they're trying to, impose their will.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing. The key to what you keep saying is, what information do they have that we left behind that they are trying to use, reverse engineer in some way, shape, form, or fashion to suppress us, to get us away from? They have something that we don't know about or that we do know about. We just don't know the exact information. That's what I'm getting to. Because going back to the symbol, if they put that symbol in there and that symbol been sitting in there hundreds of years, they plan what they're doing right now. Just the same thing as you said. So what is it that they plan this from? They took the information and they tried to use it against us. What is that information?
Go ahead, Empress. Really you want to speak, Empress?
And
I'm gonna tell you though.
I'm gonna answer that one, and I'm gonna address what Cadillac was saying as well, because most of what Cadillac was saying, that we created them and then cast them out to Europe and stuff. All mankind originates from the central regions, plains of Africa, and as
as different tribes started to roam out and migrate to different areas due to the changes of the seasons for vegetation and crops and everything like that, just food and stuff like that. Started to alter and change our DNA to adjust to it. And so like if you PTR like that picture on my screen, that's the Khoi. That's the African Khoi tribe, which is now the Chinese people. The current Chinese people, and other African tribes like the Grimaldi is an African tribe. That's the people of Italy. The Romanian, the Lucia, which is the Native Americans. Like the Tasmanian. Those were the people in Australia that white people killed and are now extinct. So and this is in numerous books, but according to humanorigins.edu, so when African tribes entered into Eurasia, Europe, those climates and stuff, those brutal, harsh, cold climates it's extremely cold for most of the year. And they didn't have heat and electricity and shelter and stuff like we have today. So they had to hide into those caves and stuff for hundreds of years, for centuries probably, and for and as a result that it changed the genotypes and the phenotypes of the original African DNA, and it altered it, and it became a separate hybrid species, and then they developed that Neanderthal gene, and started growing tails and stuff and things like that, and then they became cannibals and was eating each other and killing everything in sight, to try to survive and everything like that, and then when they started to come out, things changed and stuff, and the Moors and did have to teach them how to do different things and things of this nature. And I think just thousands of years ago, when they interacted with our ancestors, that still was in possession of all of these things, all of these spiritual aspects, and science and mathematics and everything, and they would teach them. You know what I'm saying? And their greed and their jealousy, because we all know, black people, we're the most welcoming people, on this planet. We'll welcome you in, and we're loving, and we teach you and stuff. But they made that mistake. They were welcoming them in, and they were teaching them and everything. And then that's when white people, their jealousy and greed took over. That's when white people, invaded and started stealing all of this stuff, killing us and stuff, and and twisting it around, making it try to seem like they did all this, and they're trying to keep us from knowledge of ourselves they're trying to keep us from knowing all of this information, so that we can return to our rightful selves. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I meant when that's what I meant by I agree with most of what you said, Cadillac, except just the part of we cast them out to Europe and stuff. I think that just African tribes migrated into that area, and then trying to escape the weather and stuff. They had to hide in those Caucasoid mountains, which are on the border of Europe and Asia.
Can I ask you a question, sir?
Hey, I want to respond right quick, and then you can answer. Well, go ahead. I'll let you go ahead. Go ahead, bro.
I just want to ask Brandon a question. So if you think we changed white from migrating and everything, why do you think that the dark skinned people that been living in Europe for centuries, why you think they haven't turned white?
Well, now the dark skinned people that's been living in Europe in modern centuries, a century is only 100 years. And you go back, a few thousands of years ago and stuff. So now
that people in Europe for thousands of years, though, going off your theory, bro. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, no, I'm saying now for thousands. No, for thousands of years and stuff. Now it's shelter. And I went back. I'm because white people have been on this planet for about 6,000 years. So if you go back a little past that, you know, like we didn't have the shelter that we have now. You know, because again in Africa we didn't need the shelter that we have now to escape the cold and different things like that. So they had to go up into those mountains and stuff to escape the brutal cold climate.
Okay, so all right, one more question. So you telling me that if I was to, separate from society right now and decide to live in nature in America, because we get pretty cold in I'm in Chicago, we get pretty cold. So let's just say I separated from society and me and my family decided to society and nature in the north. You're telling me that over a few generations we're gonna slowly go from black to white. We do know that it's more of a difference with us than just the skin tone. Like, it's a whole genetic difference. They act totally different. We damn near different species.
The genes started to alter and they became a separate hybrid species and stuff. So like the physical body changes and adapts to its environment. Just like let's take me for example, and you Instagram profile attached, but just looking at your picture, it looks like we're around like the same skin complexion. Like we're like, like not light skin, but yeah, thanks, peanut butter, Cameron. So like myself, I'm just gonna speak on myself. Like in the summer months, I start to get a little darker complexion. Mm-hmm. But in the months when it's colder and less sunlight, my complexion is a little. I lose the tan that I developed in the summer months. My complexion, and I if I continue that and I don't stay in.
Listen,
the sun is going to come back around. Yeah, but that sun doesn't come back around like that. It's cold. It's cold for most of the year, those temperatures and stuff. And again, they didn't have the shelter that we had, so they had to hide out into those mountains.
Okay, listen, because I don't have a lot of time to talk, and more than likely, we're going to have to just agree to disagree. But listen, we have 4 seasons no matter what of the planet we are. It gets hot everywhere.
That's not true.
It gets hot everywhere, unless you go into Antarctica or some shit, you feel me?
That's not true, Trey 3.
So it doesn't get hot is what you're telling me.
You said 4 seasons. That's not true. That's not true.
So it doesn't get hot in Europe, is what you said.
No, I'm not talking about hot, but like in Africa, and in the central regions, plains of Africa, they have 2 to 3. They have a wet season and a dry season.
But we're not talking about Africa though. We talking about the black people. You saying we turn white from going to Europe. So you telling me the sun doesn't shine in Europe. It doesn't get hot and feed your belly.
Not as much in other regions. He said
not as much. Yeah.
Hold on. Other regions.
Okay, I'm not saying it does in other regions, but what I'm saying is y'all are saying a drastic ass change for a black person to go to a white person. And I'm
not white person, but lose melanin.
No.
Melanation.
You know what, Trey? Let me give you some scientific proof.
Brother Brandon was just saying. He was saying that black people migrated to Europe, and due to weather changes and it being so cold or whatever, it changed their genetics to alter, and they went from being black people to white people. And another thing we got to understand is the Arabians enslaved us first. We always talk like white people. It was the Arabians who enslaved us first. But
Islam. Yeah. So let me give you some scientific evidence. So like if you click on my Twitter page, it's the first. It's a pinned tweet. It's an article that they posted in the 80s from the National Digest. I think that was his name, but. In that article, it's a 10-page article. It's not a long read, but in that article, they explained and laid out how scientists and researchers from the USC at Berkeley, they took the DNA from all major ethnicities around the planet and cross-examined it with the skull from a 200,000-year-old African woman that they found in the Central Regions Plains of Africa. And the DNA from that skull matched the DNA from all other ethnicities, from the sample of all other ethnicities that they took. So they concluded that
ethnicities come from us.
Exactly.
So then what will your point be?
Yeah, we agree on that, so we ain't gotta
Hold on.
go through that.
I'm not disputing the fact that white people come from black people, but I don't think black people changed into white people. I think somehow our genetics got manipulated because they have animals in their fucking DNA. If y'all look every time a white woman, even you, and I know y'all was saying that we went in, I know y'all was saying that we had sex with the animals or whatever, but if that was the case, all black people should have, at least majority of black people should have animal genetics too. If that's the case. I mean, if y'all saying that our people went and did the shit, so a good majority of black people should have animals in their genetics, but I don't think that's the case.
We're talking about becoming albino. When a black person loses their melanin, they go into albinism. It's not.
Let me explain. Let me break it down.
And a white person is two different people. Queen. That's not what he's saying. He's not saying
right. No. But I'm
let me give you my explanation or my understanding, right? Let me give y'all my understanding.
I'm trying to clarify to you what you're saying and missing the point that when a black person with melanin goes to another region and they stay there for a long period of time and it's colder than their original.
I don't think that the cold climate can change.
So Trey, you're telling me right now that if you were forced, if you were forced to Antarctica right now, and you've lived in a 4-season region all your life, and you were forced to go to Antarctica where the sun shines but it's cold all the time anyway, you don't think that the melanin in your blood would not start to dissipate slowly after 5, 10, 20 years of living there?
I honestly don't, Queen. I truly don't. I might become
DNA
a little
changes,
lighter.
baby.
I might become a little lighter, but I will not become an albino.
Right. And let me say this right quick. Let me go behind
maybe
you.
Your kids would.
Let me go back. Let me break it down right quick, right? Let me give you my understanding, right? Let me give you my understanding. So, okay, I'm looking at right now. I did a Google search, right? Greece come into existence, right? It says 8th century BC, so that's 800 years before Christ, right? So that's like 2,800 years ago, right? And then I did another one. I say, when did Rome come into existence? 753 BC, right? So that's right around about the same time. So, but what I'm saying is this, right? So we talking about 753 years ago when they finally got enough force built up to actually take over some shit and conquer some shit, right? So it's like not even 5,000, 3,000. Now, when you go Google, how long have black people, Homo sapiens, because you say black people, they gonna tell you. You gotta say how long have Homo sapiens sapiens, that's the human race, been on the planet. It's gonna tell you 300,000 years, right? So if you go Google, how long has fire been on the planet, right? It's gonna tell you from the Bolombos cave somewhere in Africa, right? They got traces of fire being used 1 million years ago, right? So you mean to tell me somebody who goes up in the Europe, no matter what color they skin, or in the mountains, no matter what color they skin, they not. Don't get me wrong. If I go in the hole right now and I'm pretty dark, if I go into segregation in the prison right now, 2-3 weeks, a month, I see people come out and they be lighter. So I do understand that it will change. But okay, so if we will change, but you do have Eskimos who still in Alaska right now, who still got dark pigment. They light, but they still got melanin in their skin, right? So what happened was they sent albinos to, because the sun is not as hard on their skin, they cannot exist down in Africa, bro, sub-Saharan Africa. You're gonna die if you're an albino, right? So they sent them up into Europe, right? In some type of way, those Neanderthals were still up in Europe at that time, right? And so, and this is evidence. I got this book right here in front of me, When the World Was Black. And this is a black dude wrote this. And his name is Supreme Understanding, I think. He's on Instagram and everything like that. You can look him up. But he's a native brother. You feel what I'm saying? He's light skinned, but he dropped his motherfucking knowledge. He do his research and he on his facts, right? But so from a perspective of some of what he said, some of my meditations and other shit, other sources, these people went up into those mountains. You feel what I'm saying? Because those Neanderthals, some type of way, had either got rid of them, got hold to them. I mean, not got rid of them, was killing them, chasing them, whatever the hell. That was their sanctuary. Because the Neanderthal was roaming that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And these were another type of human type of being, but it wasn't a human. It was bigger, it was taller, it was more bigger bones, longer skulls, and all this type of stuff right there. So this human type, not but animal like humanoid, they made it with this motherfucker. So if you go look up their DNA, at the core of their DNA, which is not at the core of our DNA, which we were created before them. So we created them, these same white people, don't get me wrong. But when they made it with that Neanderthal, their DNA changed. They got sulfur at the core, at the nucleus of their DNA. You can go look it up. At the nucleus of our DNA, we have selenium. So we are two totally different beings, genetically speaking, from DNA on up. And that's because they got that animal introduced into their DNA. So they were created here on the planet. Potato, as far as how it happened or whatever the concept is, it doesn't even matter because these are just concepts. But we 90% at the same place. So it's not like we just want to get off the topic and just go into this big debate because, like, you know, I mean, we agree on most of the stuff. So, but I was just giving you my perspective, your perspective. I'm cool with that too because I've went in, I've kind of acknowledged everything you said. You know what I'm saying? I agree with everything you said because I've seen it in several different places. You know what I'm saying? But I go beyond. I go through all type of places. Then I make sure I go to them black places too. I'm talking about this shit because they're gonna give you a whole different black perspective of what the white folks ain't gonna give you because guess what? It's a reason. But go ahead.
And we agree. Yeah, they were created on this planet. Oh yeah, and their genes mutated and changed in those mountains and stuff. Yeah, I agree with all of that. You know, I thought you were created them in a lab, and you know, and stuff.
Natural selection.
Yeah. So that's all I was saying too. But yeah, like we're all in agreement.
Could I add something to this though? Because when we get to speaking about time, we kind of get lost in our perception of today and what happened thousands. And when we say thousands, we're not talking about 1,000 years ago because we have evidence and we have real live artifacts from there. We talking about like 100,000 years ago. We talking about a time frame where we have no way of tracking atmospherics, what was here. You talking about the mutation of, I mean, when you get into the sciences, that's a whole nother realm. So, you know, when I agree, you're not going to get a black person to turn into a white person. But when you look at the science behind the atmosphere, I mean, when a 30 degrees, they can walk outside and, you know what I'm saying? You got to look at things from a different perspective. Now, when you look at black and white, I get where you're going with that. But on the other side, I'm agreeing because I've did the research too. I've seen that. I know about the case. I know about the Neanderthal. But looking at it from a perspective of going to turn white, I think we kind of in the wrong place in that thought process. We're talking about evolution, which takes a long time to take place. And there ain't no GPS and no route to tell them how to get back to where they are. You know, and you know, I'm just adding that.
They're going back to where they came from, the earth. You heard me? Yeah, they going back to where they came from, which is the earth. Well, we before earth though, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I was telling y'all that it's the time cycles. See, we created them at a certain time because it was at a degenerative time. You know what I'm saying? The cycle, the Piscean age, you know, that's a male dominated age. So by us moving into Aquarius, which is a more feminine energy, you know what I'm saying? A more water age. That's why, you know, all this squirting going on now by these women, you know what I'm saying? Because like the whole energy turning up. You feel me? And it's like, so the ancient Egyptians, they even got papyrus where they wrote, and well, I think it's on the temple. I'm about to find exactly what temple it is, but they wrote about the divination. I mean, they had divination this whole cycle and why they should create them and why did they create them and all this and that. You know what I'm saying? Why did they let that whole thing happen like that? You feel what I'm saying? Because they knew that the cycles and they knew that for 300,000 years, humans didn't have an adversary. You know what I'm saying? We was in tune with nature. You know what I'm saying? It goes up, it goes down, but it's just depending on. It's even deeper, man, because if you think about it, I mean, I ain't gonna get off subject. But I'm just trying to make sure I can give it to y'all where y'all can kind of understand what I'm saying. But it's just the time cycles, you know what I'm saying? And even our zodiac, these 12 zodiacs that we follow or that's controlled with, our whole human existence down here, those same zodiacs are in vibration and in cycles with other zodiacs, with other constellations, with other, you know what I'm saying? So it's a whole lot of energy, bro. You know what I'm saying? And we just the manifestation of that through thought, because thought was the cause of it all. You know what I'm saying? In the beginning was the word. No, the word, you got to think before you can even say the word. So the word is vibration, the thought. That's movement. You know what I'm saying? And then whatever you focus that thought on, boom, you can manifest it or you can ignore that shit. So it's like they knew that the cycles was dying. It was slowing down. So they created these people to bring us all the way to our fullest potential of low vibrational frequency and energy, slavery. Because once we experience that, now it's in the Akasha. It's in the record. You feel what I'm saying? Now we already know shit. We can't do that no more. We can't go that way. But we did it for a purpose so we could fall that far. I'm talking about spiritually speaking. I ain't talking about the human shit, the creation. I'm talking about spiritual. We created them in spirit first because we needed to fall hard. You know what I'm saying? So we could remember that we ain't no fucking humans. We gods, goddesses. You know what I'm saying? We primordial
That's
energy.
crazy because I kind of learned something along what you're saying about, we kind of knew that we were going into a fall.
Exactly.
It's all written. Everything is written. I kind of just wanted to throw a book out there. Signs and symbols of the primordial man.
Exactly.
Yeah, you said primordial like 3 times in your previous.
Yes, that book. Yes.
And I was in a room here on CH, and I was like, damn, he is just dropping jewels, because like a lot of the shows on Netflix right now, and a lot of the shows I've been watching, like that have to do with like witchcraft, and they're doing incantations and all this stuff. I'm just like, all these sigils. They say these words: sigils, symbols, signs. Like they're putting spells out there. They're traveling through dimensions. They are tapping in.
Exactly.
They are tapping into the universe, and they know so much. And it's not that they have something that we don't have. They know something that we don't know with us and them, right? While we're here tapping into the energetic part, they're sitting in actual laboratories creating energy, right? Because they don't know nothing about energy. They don't know they don't really know nothing. So America was only born 200 and some years ago.
Facts, and that's why they need us. That's why they use us.
Precisely. And the war is only happening because they have played around with genetics so much that they've lost their way again. They done tried to put out everything to slow down the rate, population control, but you can't play with spirit. Like, you can't play with Mother Earth. If Mother Earth wants to keep on procreating and saving herself and creating her remedies and blowing, if she want to blow the volcano up and blow everybody up on that island and start all over again, Mother Earth will figure out a way how to make 2 new people be created on that land to whatever, continue Earth. Like, Earth don't need us. We need Earth. So, like, when we start looking at that thin line of what we have and what they don't have, we both of us have the same things. The only separation that they have from us is that they're sitting in laboratories and creating fake shit. We're not doing that, because we know that fruits and vegetables only grow in certain seasons, right? We know that certain things only happen at this time of the year. Like, they be trying to reroute and reconstruct stuff to fit into their survival tactical mind, because they know once we figure it out, snap, snap, you click your heels, it's like, oh shit, here they come. Because there's a law that says that we can't, certain amounts of us can't be together in certain places. So, that's why the church is even a thing. The church is available for us to congregate there under political business. You know what I'm saying? It's still a business. And what you choose to do with the church is up to you. You know what I mean? There is no real enslavement inside the church. Honestly, pastors could be using the church to unify the people, but on a more silent scale. Just, you don't have to be a mega church. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do all of that. You don't have to sign away every little bit of everything just to make a name for yourself. Just to have a tax bracket, just to drive a Benz. Like, it's so materialistic minded. It takes away from any spirituality that you could have learned underneath the church house, if y'all get what I'm saying. Yeah, so it's definitely a whole vibe with this rotation of energy. We don't lack anywhere. Black people, African Americans, want to call yourself melanated, being melanoids, like copper color, whatever you would desire to address yourself as. We don't lack in anything on this universe, on planet Earth, in America. We don't lack nothing. We just think we do because every time you go outside and you talk to some of these funky people, they try to make you sound like you're crazy. But you're not. It's okay. You know what you're talking about. What you see is what you see, and what you feel is real, and your senses are working. So, if your spirit says don't go down that alley, don't go down there. If it says don't get on that plane today, don't get on that plane today. Okay? Because it's your ancestors and things are out there making sure that they protect the ones who have already answered the call to the mission. Like, there has been a call that's been put out, and not everyone is answering, and Mother Earth is wiping these suckers out. She listen, if y'all don't get it together, I'm gonna help y'all on the way, okay? And just scoot everything forward at the pace that it needs to be going. So, don't have any fear of any of the information, whatever point of view you're taking it from. They gonna hate because they don't know themselves. We actually know. We do. We're not confused. We're not in lack. None of that stuff. That all of those words don't even exist for real. They're made up. That's all made up language. Like, I'm ready to start speaking something different, because this English language, this American language, this thing gets you wrapped up. You'll say one thing and the person will think you mean something else, but I really meant this. And now you got to go into a long explanation of how you didn't mean. I meant, oh my gosh. Okay, I'm sorry. My bad. Like, English language gets you tripped up and thrown in jail because they want you to understand. You see that? Understand. Okay? They want you to understand. Not overstand. This is Empress talk. I say overstand or understand, but they want you to understand what they're saying to you. And when you understand, that means you are below them. That's white supremacy talk. Yeah.
Facts.
Facts. Yeah, for sure. That's white supremacy talk.
And I just want to stress emphasis on that book that she mentioned, Signs and Symbols of Primordial Man by Dr. Albert Churchward. That is one of the most important. You all go get that book.
How y'all doing? If I could just add, just to, when you understand creation and the way that we were created in its totality, you understand that our existence side with the universe, with the planets, with the sun, with the moon. If we tap in to our true selves, even when you think about our ancestors, I feel like even when you think about them to a certain level, everything is regenerated. Everything comes back in a cycle. That's why the earth has been around so long. And when a lot of us
who really tapping in right now to who we are, a lot of us don't even realize who we was in a whole nother lifetime, and why we're able to see things from a whole nother perspective, and why we're able to feel things, and why we're able to internalize things from a spiritual perspective, and why we're able to hear things. And I don't mean hearing things with the natural ear. You know, with us, our senses go beyond our senses. With us just being a human race, and I tap into my existence. I believe that I am my great grandmother, who was a Gadite. She everything she did when it pertained to homeopathic living, herbs, and things of that. How to tap into energy, how to meditate, how to deal with my chakras and stay clean, and how to follow, operate with the new moon and the full moon and things of that nature. I didn't study none of that stuff. If someone was to ask me, well, how do you, I couldn't really tell you, because it didn't come from studying, because it was already in me. Certain things is just already in us, and we study to add to it. But for real, we don't need a whole lot of books. I mean, I'm grateful that they're there. We don't need them, though, because everything we need, like the sister was saying, everything we need is already out here. It's just the matter of tapping into it. And once we tap into who we are, you can do anything you want to do as a person. You can do anything. But again, that whole understand, that was serious. I like that. And I take that, I'm gonna take that and run with it, because that's exactly what it's about. It's about making us understand, which is not understanding. And so we just got to be more true to ourselves. We got to really tap into our bodies, keep our chakras clean, keep our physical bodies clean, so that we can hear and receive the different messages and the different codes and the different things that we need to understand to journey through this next phase of life. But a lot of times people can't even tap in, because their bodies, their minds, the lobes of the brain, the 11 systems of the body be so conflicted with a whole bunch of extra stuff that people can't even tap in. They can't hear. They don't know. People don't have a clue. And we have been sent here as conduits to just help people through this journey. A lot of the stuff, I'm quite sure, a lot of the stuff that y'all might know, you might not even understand how you know. But a lot of the things that you know, I'm talking about ancient stuff. I'm talking about stuff that you can't just go have a regular day-to-day conversation with people, because like the sister said, they're going to think you crazy. But absolutely not. We're not crazy. We got good damn sense. We do hear what we hear. We do feel what we feel. We sense what we sense. We can do whatever we want to do. The sky is beyond the limit. We can teleport, transform. You know what I'm saying? We can move objects. We can shift things. It's just a matter of tapping in. But I wanted to get that off of me. Thanks for letting me share.
3 times. I say 3. We needed that pump. We needed that pump. Pump up the volume. Pump it up. Dun-dun, 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 dun-dun. Okay? We popping. But yeah, that's the vibe. We ain't crazy. And don't let nobody else tell you that ever. Just erase that word out of your entire vocabulary. And if somebody even try to tell you that, be like, swerve on that. I don't accept that energy. Thank you. I'm a free spirit, free thinker, free. I think that's a commercial, right? Oh my God.
Well, yeah, who that was? I need to follow her right quick. I need to make sure I follow her.
That was Zenobia, right?
All right, Zenobia.
Yeah. I hear the old school lady Zenobia. I hear that in your voice, baby.
Yeah, because we old souls. We've been here so many times before. And we just here to get certain things right and to help navigate other people into this beautiful place that we are in. Like, we can do what we want. Like, I'm in a place right now where I'm telling myself I can move out just if I want to. If I want to leave my house right now, mentally, physically, mentally and spiritually, I can go to York right now if I choose to. It's just a matter of taking myself there. It's a matter of sitting still enough. You know what I'm saying? Telepathically going where I need to go, doing what I need to do. You understand? So we got a lot of work to do, y'all. We got a lot of work to do. We've been sent here on a mission this go round, and let's just try to get it right this time.
That's it. Because this actually, I don't know if anybody agrees with me, but on this physical plane, this like the last joint. Yeah, there ain't no.
I'm done with it.
Dad, I ain't coming to fuck back. I want to do this shit again. All the heartbreaks and all the deaths and all the. I don't want to fuck with that shit no more. I'm good. Like, yo, I swear to God, I was depressed like in 2018, and I swore to myself that once I got through that shit, I said, fuck all that shit. I'll never want to feel this way ever again. Yo, I'm telling you, when you go all the way down, like Cadillac was saying, when you go down to that slave peasant point in your life, yo, and you rise up out that mud, you be like, listen, hey, twinkle toes over here. I ain't going nowhere back down. We going to spirituality. Because spirituality is not just all high, positivity, peace and love and shit. Like, I get mad, I cuss people out still, you know, it's all a journey. You know what I'm saying? Nobody perfect. So, like Zenobia said, we trying to figure it out. We trying to figure it out. And you piecing the puzzle, taking the pieces and putting it to the puzzle of your own life to figure out your journey and where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing. So I definitely, as Zenobia got that yellow in there, that Oshun energy, you know what I'm saying? That yellow, sun, Ra. That's the vibe I get from you. What's your sign? What's your sign? I get fire from you. Yeah, definitely. I'm a Aquarius though, but just my father, grandfather, they was from Tobago, so that energy is there also. That West Indies energy is there. But I gotta say this last thing, y'all. Like, my spirituality, my reality. So the things that I can't see are the things that I'm chasing after. Ooh. It ain't the things that I can see, touch, feel, taste, smell with my physical senses. It's the things beyond those levels. Because this mortal place, this physical plane, it's just that. It's a physical plane. And I feel like our energies are too high for this place. That's why we come in rooms and settings like this to release that energy. Because we too high for this place, y'all. It's so many places we gotta go. Let's just go. I encourage everybody to go. Continue to tap into who you are as your essence, who you were created to be, what you were created to do. And I ain't talking about on a physical level as far as just like feeding the hungry and giving clothes to the poor. I'm not talking about from that level. I'm talking about healing people with the mere thought of with the mere thought process. I'm talking about delivering people with the power and the energy of just thinking that they're delivered and deliverance come forth. So I'm just talking about on a whole nother level. When I lose people, I lose them all the time, but I really don't care because my job is to give the information. What you do with it after I give it to you is not my business.
Hallelujah. Thank you. Take us to church. Thank you, Miss Zenobia. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Galatians chapter verses 1. What I said, verse 10. Thou shalt know thyself, y'all. Thou shalt know thyself. Okay. Thank you.
Yo, Empress, I'm about to.
At all motherfucking time. Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all the biggest trick that's been played on us, right? Is love, right? Because if you, the source, if your soul is the source, it is consciousness, it is the knowing, you know, it is this all this big type, whatever name you want to give it, right? God, whatever. So that means it created all this shit through love, for love, you know what I'm saying? For the existence of just having an existence, right? Because it has no existence, it's all existences. So if I'm already everything, I mean, shit, what is it to do? But I'm just saying, so it created all these different separations of itself to exist and to be all this shit. You feel what I'm saying? So, and it knows that it is these things, but it had to play a trick. So the trick is that you're a human, right? And then humans, what we chasing, the main thing is love, right? So love, the loved ones, the ones who hurt us the most, especially the ones who we try to upgrade their knowledge, to upgrade their, you know what I'm saying, their energy. And they reject that shit, you know what I'm saying? And they want to chase after whatever they want to chase. And it's like trying to put a crackhead in the crack house if you think about it, right? So, I mean, a crackhead in the rehab, you know what I'm saying? It's like trying to make a crackhead go to rehab. Nah, they got to be, you know, in their own time. Right now, it's just our time. And these kids, they more advanced. They way more advanced. They the real old souls. But once you get into this research and shit, You got Aleister Crowley and them and everything, and all these other different ones. They got a pantheon of gods called the Great Old Ones, right? And these old ones are us. They black, so nigga rock, niggas like that. But hey, so it's just these entities, like we is this shit. We the shit. You know what I'm saying? So like, but love, the whole love thing is like, if you love, what you chasing after yourself for? Long story short, I mean, why are you trying to find love in another person you love? There's just a catalyst. The other person just something for you to come in contact with, to experience. Like, it give you like a high of this, or that it give you a dose of that, but it don't last because you put it outside of yourself, and everything outside of yourself is limited, it's temporary. But then that shit you got for yourself that'll never die, that'll always live, and you're gonna always want the best for yourself, that's the best shit. So if you go out that frequency and that energy right there, you'll start letting the other shit go. Like, you know, even my child, our children can get took at any time. You know what I'm saying? Our parents can get took at anything, can get took at any time. They're showing you that it ain't even about all that. It's about you. You know what I'm saying? And the experience of all these things. So that's why you wouldn't harm nobody else, because you harming them, you harming yourself. You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole thing. Like, get the energy and the emotions, you know what I'm saying, in line with that same thing. That's that Christ shit. You know, you come testing me, trying to judge me, man, what is this? What is that? And I give you the real shit, but you don't want to hear it because you want to be and do what you want to do. That's that same energy. You know what I'm saying? So who am I to just judge them? Fuck it. Go on, do what you're going to do anyway. You're going to do it. But I'm just saying, also, I'm not saying like, you know, because I don't believe in good and bad or right and wrong, this and that. I just believe in, you know what I'm saying, doing right to others as I had them do to myself. You feel me? All the other shit is just perception, because if you're trying to kill me and I kill you, you're a dead motherfucker, but I'm still alive. So me and my family good. You feel me? So who's it good? Who to say it's bad that you got killed? You shouldn't have been fucking with me. I probably shouldn't have been fucking with you. But the whole thing is not even, if you hang around drug dealers, you're gonna probably become a drug dealer or start buying drugs. You know what I'm saying? If you keep going to the shoe store, you're gonna probably buy some shoes. You feel me? So it's like you are what your surroundings is. Like this white dude say, he say, tell me who your 5 friends is, and I can tell you your future. You know what I'm saying? Tell me who your closest 5 friends are. So that's like the energy you circulating in, that becomes your reality, and you line up. So drug dealers hang around drug dealers, bank robbers hang around them. You know what I'm saying? The same shit, you know. Businessmen hang around somebody, help them. If not, shit, hey, it's still all up, feel me?
Absolutely. Don't go further than you can extend yourself, because all that does is drain your personal energy.
Right. It's too much good could be bad. You give them the shirt off your back, and then when you ain't got a shirt, shit, you'll learn not to do that no more. Or you'll keep doing it and keep failing. And that's what it's about, learning and then growing, not steady repeating the same shit over and over and over. And that's why they call Lucifer the light bringer. You know what I'm saying? Because Lucifer is like your lower self, your shadow self, who you are really at the core. You know what I'm saying? To yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that motherfucker right there, that's probably all type of thoughts, all type of this, all type of that, all scattered everywhere. You know what I'm saying? But when some shit coming your way that challenge you, now you have the chance to get light from that situation. You know what I'm saying? Well, I handled it right that time. I got that right. I did that. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it should be like, shit, somebody come get you in your feelings. You act out of anger. They act out of anger. Somebody in jail, somebody dead, or somebody just, you know, we enemies forever now. You know what I'm saying? When you ain't really have to. You could have been like, you could have laughed it off, like the guy said earlier. You know what I'm saying? Laughter is a powerful energy. If you're depressed and you just start your path, you'll become undepressed. It's simple, but in our reality, you know what I'm saying, it's just really how you look at it. And just, you know, chemical imbalances and stuff, I'm not negating none of that. And mental health stuff, I can't negate none of that. But I'm just saying, like, it's what you tell yourself. If you tell yourself, I can't get a job, I can't get this car, I can't do that, you'll never do the shit. It'll be long-winded now.
Nah, that's truth. Law of attraction makes lots of sense, and that's also a natural human law that we should be abiding by. I did want to open up a little bit. This still has to do with spirituality, but based upon social media, has anyone been paying attention to how like TikTok is exploiting spirituality? They're like, people are putting like certain things about like their shadow self, like